rolling already.
We're rolling.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The people are just going to have to put up with like the first 10 minutes just you going to the toilet and all that sort of stuff. I don't cut anything out.
You don't?
No. They get the whole lot.
Cut that out. Cut that out. Lad, how many years has it been? Lots.
I reckon 4.
4, yeah.
Probably 4 years.
Yeah.
Since we decided to, well, we've known each other for ages, and then been like trying to line up a podcast for ages, and every time I'm up here, I never have the time.
Oh, I know the drill.
And then you're always flat out, like you're more elusive than me, which is impressive.
Mate, I'm like the New South Wales Panther.
Man, I want to know, I know the story, but I want you to tell the story. How did all of this start? This because Merino Boatworks is pretty new to the game, as in to market, but this concept's been around for, like what you've been building has been around for a decade or more, or what?
As in my own thoughts into getting into this.
Yeah, like how did the concept of becoming a Australian-made boat building, like bespoke boat building company start?
Actually, when you look back, you realise that everything you were doing was leading up to that, but you had no idea at the time. Probably the same as what you were doing. Like you're probably looking at cameras and
literally
you were watching films, but you were watching them with a different lens to everyone else, and you had no idea until now. So, when I was a kid, like I was super lucky with my childhood, and everywhere we went and lived, Dad was always into fishing. My dad's a crazy person. And he always, everywhere we went fishing. If we were going on a holiday or going on a day run or whatever it was doing, it had to do with fishing. And I ended up going to uni, doing mechanical engineering, and then there was like one semester where we did like 3D modelling. And it was only a tiny little snippet, not even a scrape on the top of what, CAD modelling would be. And at the time, I didn't notice, but I remember now that I wanted to draw boats. And anyway, I pirated a license for that software while I was at uni, and I just started drawing boats, and I just learned tutorials on drawing boats. This is back in the days of the Pirate Bay, things like that. Long wire.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then, life happened. As soon as uni finished, you go, what am I going to do? You sold this like curriculum of things you're going to do with that piece of paper and all this shit. And then I was working for I became a graduate, was working down in the sunny coast for a construction company, and then all I wanted to do was get out of there. I hated sitting in an office. Like, I hate sitting down, if you have not noticed. And I ended up moving to Weipa. And it was like sort of following the tracks of my dad. He, ended up in Weipa at some point in his life, and I met a lot of people that knew him. And there was a little bit there where we were resurveying all the boats that we had, and I was working on the Mission River Bridge. And we had a number of boats, like commercial boats, that we'd ferry the people back and forth from the abutment where, I guess the site project was set up. When we had to resurvey them, we didn't have drawings for them. So instead of contracting someone else, I was like, oh, I'll draw these. And I had a MacBook at the time and, running like some software that would throw an image of Windows or whatever. And I had that same software on there, and I redrew the boats, and I really enjoyed it. And I met this surveyor, and I don't remember at the time, but I remember pinning him, this marine surveyor, about boats and boat building, and he sent me this book called the Guggen Brothers book. And if you're into boat building, it's not like a Bible or anything, but it's a well-known book, and I read snippets of that. And it was funny coming across those emails because I used him as a surveyor many years later. And I remember reading an email like 2 years ago that I'd sent to this guy saying, hey, I'm thinking of building boats one day. Have you got any material on boat building? And he sent me that book. I cannot even remember asking him that at the time. I don't even remember having the train of thought at the time that that's what I would do. But it was just like a subliminal interest. Anyway, we ended up doing that work with the boats, and then it sort of just got on hold. Like, I didn't even think about it. It wasn't like a thought process at any time where I'd become a boat builder, but I sort of morphed from being really intense into fishing at uni. When I was at uni, I used to work at Tackle World. I used to fill a fish at night at a seafood joint. I was always fishing, man. And it didn't feel like a thing. It was just something I did because that's what I always did. And I was learning lots from people that were way better fishermen than me. at that tackle shop, you know, I went in there. I was like a cow in a grass shop, bro. Like, it was fucking awesome. And, you know, I'd spent a life living in Africa in a few places and in Papua New Guinea in a few places and was just super lucky that I got to fish in those places. At the time, bro, I had no idea. Like catching black bass or catching tilapia in Africa or whatever the fuck we were doing was so sick. And only now I realise that. But we sort of went from that point to getting burnt out on construction projects. And no, I wouldn't say burnt out. It was just over it. And I like, you know, shiny new things and absorbing information subliminally. You don't even know you're obsessing over it. And then I took a year off. It was during COVID, and COVID was sort of a blessing for a lot of people because it made things stop, I guess, and you had to think about things in a different way. And me and my partner, we wanted to go overseas for a year. She grew up in Weipa, spent her whole life there, and it was the most stationary I'd ever been in my life. So we wanted to go on a trip overseas, international borders closed, and we were like, oh, surely the domestic borders wouldn't close. So I sold everything, literally everything, and then we got a car ready to go travel around Australia. We were like, surely the domestic borders wouldn't close. And while we were waiting for this canopy to be built, my dad just retired and he just was in Innisfail. We were there for like 7 weeks, and it was like the longest time I've spent with my, you know, parents in a long time. Because, you know, at this point you're like 26 or 27 or whatever the fuck it was. And it was pretty cool, but it was stagnant and we were just waiting for this car to get built. Anyway, well, this canopy to get built. Anyway, we ended up travelling around Queensland, trying to suss out what borders are doing. No one's travelling at this point. And it was the first time since, I guess, starting uni where, well, probably end of uni, where you start your career. It was the first time that my brain had nothing else to process but myself and what I was doing immediately. Like, the biggest problem was fucking where we're going to fill the water tank for the car. And I really suggest to people to fucking take that little mini retirement, because at some point I became like myself, wholly and solely. And we were waiting in Brisbane for the borders to open to try getting to New South Wales. And we were there for a while. And while we were waiting in Brisbane, I thought, fuck, I used to live on the sunny coast. I'll ring my old boss and see if he needs a hand, because I'm just bored sitting around. And I was driving back and forth from Brisbane every morning to the sunny coast, to Kawana, where the office was. And I was sitting back at my old desk that I was fighting so hard to get away from so many years ago. And it was like nothing fucking changed. And I don't know why, but that hit me so hard, bro. And then I was sweet. And then I remember one day I drove back and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm sitting back at my old desk. Like, what am I going to do after this? And I never thought about that until that day. So I went for a run, which is like not me, bro. Like, you know, if I'm in that train of thought and I'm doing that, yeah, 100%. But at the time it was so left field. And I went for a run and I can nearly visualise it 100%. I can visualise it. I was running down this hill. I got to the top. I was fucked. And I literally was thinking about what am I going to do. And I just got to the top of this hill and it was... It sounds like a fucking weird yarn, but legit, I just thought, fuck this, I'm going to build boats. And it was not even a thought in passing before that. But everything I'd done before this point had led to that. And, you know, when I was a graduate in the sunny coast many years before this point, while I was back down there, I lived in a garage in Maroochydore. And my best mate at the time, Zerky, we'd always talk about skiffs and boats and four-wheel drive products and how we can make boats better and all these things. And we were irately always planning on get-rich-quick schemes and things we want to do with our life. And it was an intense, like, you know, he had conversation that fed my thoughts and vice versa. And we were always talking about this. Always about boats, always about skiffs. We just didn't realise until later. And mainly focused on what people are doing, in, you know, with newer boats and construction and deadly things that are happening and anything in that space. And then I ran back home. I was like real excited. And then Meg, my partner, was like, what are you excited about? First thing I did was ring my best mate, tell him, bro, I'm going to build boats. I'm fucking going to do it. And it was one of those things where you have a great idea that you've had a million times and the next day you wake up and it's gone. You couldn't even recall it. Every single day it was there. And that's literally how it started, that one day. I think it was like a day after my 27th birthday.
What Do you think it was just because you were like so like subliminally exposed to boats and things like that you chose boats?
No.
Or why was it?
I don't think boats are important at all. I don't think anything regarding pursuing building boats is important to anyone. It has nothing to do with anything. It was just what I was interested in. And I just, you know, when I was a kid, my dad's a strange fellow, but he's he's a pretty cool character. But he always made me aware of how mortal humans are.
How do you mean?
He'd always bring on conversation, like he's very philosophical. He's an old deaf ringer, but he did it all right for himself. But he's, very well read, has, knows a lot about physics and, Shakespeare and poetry and lots of weird things. He's a weird guy. And he always made me aware, even from a little kid, how mortal humans are. And I guess it was like going, thinking, fuck, Barry, I'm going to die real soon, like everyone else is.
It's a good way to think.
Why the hell am I doing that? Like, I spent all this time wanting to work in projects and build shit and do all this crap. And it literally did nothing apart from the complete opposite of what I thought it would do to me.
No.
And I only realised when I was going back to what I was doing again, I was like, fuck, it was like taking a step back in time. What have I done? I did a lot of cool stuff, but it was sort of, when you go to work, you spend 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, 48 weeks a year, doing something that might not necessarily align with your interests that you're laying in bed thinking about. So if I'm going to die, I could spend 5 days a week, 12 hours a day doing something I was interested in. This is a big amount of time, and time is fucking rare, bro. Why wouldn't I try? And that was sort of, and it sounds crazy. It sounds like a philosophical fucking find yourself thing, but that's 100% what I was thinking, bro.
And yeah, I guess like my old man was the same, except he procrastinated too much. And it was
my dad started late too.
Yeah, he was like, excuse me for coughing, everybody, too, because I'm just coming off the flu or COVID or some bullshit, and I've got a mongrel cough I cannot get rid of, and this mic will not sit still. Yeah, my old man was the same, and I think like he used to preach that shit, but never used to actually do it. So it's like and he died at 59, so super young.
Same as my old man's, man.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, so then like he died at 59 with all this shit that he wanted to do and never did and all this sort of stuff. And that put a rocket up my ass to actually take action. Because you can sit there and preach that. You got one life, live it type thing. And I think a lot of people do preach it.
They do, bro.
And then still just, do the mundane.
Well, how about the core curriculum of the fucking parent on the earth? They tell their kid, you can do whatever you want to do. Be whatever you want to be. And then they're just sitting around doing fuck all, And I'm not saying that it's important that you do lots of things. All I'm saying is that it's important to no one else but yourself to just do the things you want to do. And that's all I was ever shown. Like when I was a kid, my dad's like a deaf old ringer that has lived like a bunch of different things. And all I ever saw was that this is before the internet and fucking anything like that. He would just move us across the other side of the earth, very headstrong, and just do it. And all I saw was that he only did what he wanted to do, and he kept out of everyone else's business. So who the fuck would I be to be a friend or a father or whatever the hell, to tell someone to chase their dream if I had not even fucking thought about trying? Like, that's just crazy. And that's not like the cornerstone of why I'm doing it, but that's real. Like, why? It's just fucking false yarn, lad.
Literally, literally. And I feel like a lot of people do that too. Like, a lot of people preach it, like, and talk the talk. And they go and watch all the inspirational shit on Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff. But when it push comes to shove and you've got to actually take a risk, because what we do as like businessmen and entrepreneurs is hard, man. And you can't explain the love of it to people because it just sounds miserable when you try to explain it.
Oh, yeah. And look, listen, I wish I was content with no ambition. Don't get me wrong. I wish I was like a fucking... I wish I delivered milk in the hills of New Zealand. And I read a fucking magazine in a little Suzuki Carry. I had a little dog next to me. And all I thought about was going home, catching some trout, smoking a joint that night. That's honestly what I wish. But I'm just not like that. And nothing that I'm doing is important. Or anyone. Like, there's 6 billion of us. But if you've got that itch and you go to your deathbed with it, lad, like, fuck, don't do it. Success is not important. Trying, I think... I hope so anyway, because I haven't had much success. But I honestly think that all I saw was my dad try, man. Like, he can't fucking hear people. He's born profoundly deaf. And all I ever saw was him try really hard. And it's only now that I understand that he was doing that. He never showed any sign of wanting to talk about what he was doing or why we lived in Africa or anything like that. We were just there. And I don't understand why we did all that, but it was so valuable to me. And I guess it's like yourself, man. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're in my workshop, you've got all these lights here. I remember when I first sort of came across you, I was just like, oh, this dude's like, he likes black coffee, he makes black coffee, I drink black coffee, he's doing some cool shit. And as the years have gone past, like, look how much has changed. And it feels like you haven't done much in that time. And then if you sit back and look, you think, holy hell. And you're not here for very long. So whatever money gets thrown in your bank account is irrelevant. You just did all that shit, right?
Literally, I couldn't care less. Like, money's a byproduct. Like, I like the idea of trying to make money.
I like the idea of it too.
The business side of it, but I don't really care about making millions or anything like that.
Your excitement will easily overcome a smart business decision or a dumb one, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Mainly the dumb ones.
Literally. But it is all about the process, though. Like, people get so results focused, and then they lose their way, and they end up miserable on the journey.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I just soak it all in, man. Like, I had good days and bad days, more bad days than good days. But, like, the good days are, you can't have the good days without the bad days to make the good days feel good type deal. And it's like, it's just a punish. Entrepreneurship is like, I reckon, if you were trying to explain it to someone, 75 to 90% of it is an absolute fucking punish. Period. It's hard on family, hard on friends, hard on you, everything. Like, and then you have this, like,
it's hard on everyone around you. That's the shit part.
Literally.
That's the shit part, bro, because they think you're in misery and they're like, why the fuck would you do this to yourself? It's like, bro, only something so important would drive me to do this, and they just think you're crazy. It doesn't matter if they think you're crazy or anything like that, but you really do strip people around you of their solace sometimes, because you're an irate psychopath like I am, like you are. And you don't realise that you've just spent 3 to 4 years, and all it does is it looks like you're self-absorbed in making money. It's so fucking incorrect, mate. If I wanted to make money, I would have kept doing what I was doing.
Literally.
So it would be nice to be a bit more money-driven, but bro, Donald Trump's not going to be thinking about his money when he's dead.
Nah.
And he's not going to be thinking about it on his deathbed. So
I can tell you now, man, I'm 34 and I could write a book on the life I've lived.
How about this? Most people take a holiday, and the primary concern, apart from the adventure, is how much money it costs. Now, people pay you to do those adventures, man. Well done.
Yeah, literally. It's pretty fucking good.
Bro, it doesn't matter how hard it is if you think about it lightly like that.
Yeah, and it is, man. It's like, I didn't think I could build a, yes, please. Yes, beer delivery. Oh, it's in the middle.
Oh, wait.
Go again. Perfect, got it over the hump.
See that?
Yeah, like, people don't. I tried to build a business doing what I loved, and it was like way harder, took way longer, because I could have shot a lot of weddings and a lot of real estate and a lot of all that sort of stuff, but I didn't want to. I was just like, the whole, like we were talking today with Isaac and those guys, excuse me, as it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Yeah. I've said it on a couple of podcasts.
You've said that to me a couple of times, and I've barely spoken to you.
It's the truth, man. And then being able to, like, I've been to, fuck knows, I hit nearly every state in Australia every year, multiple times.
Oh yeah, Qantas has a new rare metal for your fucking frequent flyer status.
Literally, man. And then I'm overseas like multiple times a year. I've been to Africa. I've been to New Zealand this year. I'm going to Bolivia. I'm going to back to the States, back to Texas. Then I'm going to the Yukon, like far northern Yukon, and then I'm back to New Zealand into the year, like all before Christmas. And
fuck you, bro.
it's work too. Like you still, like, people go, oh, you're so, like, it's so fun and all that sort of shit, and it is, but it's also work. Like, I have an obligation.
Yeah,
so,
it
like,
goes away if you don't perform, right?
Yeah, and I miss out on a lot of the actual just sit back, relaxing stuff, because I'm like, get back, filming hunting, for example, you get back at just on dark. You still got to eat and unpack and repack for the next day.
You're filming a guy who's dialed in and you're sitting next to him trying not to make noise, trying to capture the shot.
Yeah.
You know, but you still got to experience it all. But it definitely would be different. I noticed that I've never been around cameras before like this. And then, you know, filming stuff with the captain's boys and then talking to them afterwards. You see, like, there's a lot of shit in the media about cameramen and all this bullshit, but you see, like, with authentic people that are cameramen doing what they love, and they talk to you about it when you're on the piss that night. They literally say, man, it sucks that I've got to think about this other stuff. It's, again, I'm still very lucky, but my day was completely different to yours, and you must go through that a bit.
100%. And it's like, I still get to go to all these places and all that sort of stuff, but I still have way more workload than everybody else. Like, I don't get to go to bed early. I go back to my bed and then I back up footage all fucking night and make sure I got everything.
This bullshit about 8 hours of sleep.
Shit don't work, brother.
Bro, I wish.
Tell me about, actually, let's touch on that. Do you have balance?
Fuck no. No. And I don't focus on it either, but I should. You still have to, like, you know, having this, if I had balance the whole time you were starting a business, the things that blindsided me would have fucked me up.
Yeah.
So, it depends what balance is for a person. I mean, like, I get 8 hours of sleep in 4 hours, depending on the night. But, you know, what's balance? Is balance comfort? Like, fuck, if that's what you're talking about, are you talking about comfort? Bro, if you come camping with me, I'll forget everything because I'm not thinking about comfort. But it depends what it is for the person. If balance is time with your family and, you know, polishing your car and taking pictures on Instagram, having coffees and shit, well, you know, I'm only about the family part. The other side is just irrelevant. The only thing I want to do is see as much of the earth as I can before I die and see as many animals as I can before I die.
Literally.
That's it.
Yeah. I don't think balance is like, I don't know. I understand the whole looking after your body and your mind and all the health stuff and everything, but it's almost impossible to have it doing what we do, especially what I do. Man, I'm fucking in different time zones 5 times a year.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. And
it takes 2 hours to get to Africa, bro.
I do want to touch on how you started because I will get lost in Africa and all this other shit. But, you know, I don't think anyone in the modern world can really define what balance is. You know, we have fucking reactions in our body that are designed to go, oh, that's low, store berries in the cave, and then shut that so I don't get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. And then we have things like getting a passport or a late tax bill or something create those reactions in us, and we fucking feel terrible, like we're about to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Mm-hmm. So I don't think authentically we can have balance. But people living the way they were born to live can actually figure that out because we are so out of imbalance. So I guess, you know, fucking whose eye are you looking from? You know, if you're an Inuit dude that hunts polar bears and you know, fucking eats bloody seal blubber, what's his balance? I mean, his balance would be hunting versus fucking family time or keeping warm. You know, those are actually real things. And our balance is going, fuck, my time is spread out amongst all this shit that's irrelevant. We're not balanced. No. So I guess it depends, you know, what it is for you.
Yeah. And I guess like society's created a norm around 8 hours of work and then all this and that. And like, I might work for 18 hours. I might work for 2.
Yeah.
And I might go to the gym. I might get up at 6 o'clock one morning. I might get up at 4. I might get up at fucking 9. I don't have a routine or a system, man.
Are you really inefficient? Because I'm super inefficient. And people think that I'm all over it or whatever. No, I have to spend these hours because I'm very inefficient. And I'm like my dad because he was deaf. So he had to spend a lot of time, you know, to do the work he did. I'd watch him when I was a kid every day. He'd get up at like 3:15, be at work at 4, cruise around the mines, wherever the fuck we lived, and then he'd come back late. And, you know, only later in life he said, Tom, I need to do that because I was so slow. Like, I don't even know how to type on a keyboard, but he was, you know, working some of the largest mines in the world. And he's just an old bushy that started late. And I don't know what it is. I don't have any of those predispositions, but I'm the same. I'm very inefficient, and I don't give a fuck. It's fine. You know?
Yeah, it is, man.
Are you like that?
I used to be. I used to be the person... Excuse me. I've had this cough for like a week. I cannot get rid of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why we're COVID safe here.
Man. Yeah. I used to be like that. I used to just burn the candle at both ends and just flog myself to death and run on 3-4 hours sleep a night for years.
Yeah.
Never made. I used to still be training and all sorts of things, man. I was competing and fighting at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Working a full-time job and then trying to run this and then still training 2, 3, 4 hours a day and just running on no sleep. So then I was like, got to the point where one morning, and I still remember it, like I got up to go for a run and I couldn't figure out how to tie my shoelaces.
Oh man,
Because I was cognitively cooked.
Yeah. Oh, that's real. That's so real.
I was sitting there, I grabbed my shoelaces and I stared at them for a second. I was like, nah, this is not right, man. You shouldn't even need to think about that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, started doing a little bit of research onto it and all that sort of stuff. So now I work out how to be efficient and then I still try for 8 hours. It's just never routine. Like I'm not in bed by 9. I'm like, I might be in bed by 6 or 7. I might be in bed by 10 or 11.
Yeah, you go to bed if you're tired or if there's nothing
to do.
Nothing to do.
Yeah, but then I'll sleep, like if I get to bed at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, I'll sleep till 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, I try to. I usually, like, I'm pretty good at getting 8 hours these days, but like I try and always get that, and then I optimize every part of my life to the point where it's like borderline detrimental. Like I don't own a TV. And there's not a TV in my house.
And everything you do gets up on TV.
Literally. Bro, like, it would surprise you. Like, you would think that we're quite active on Instagram and stuff. And, like, I literally...
You used to be.
I used to be, yeah.
Yep.
Used to be. And now, like, I rarely... If we post, I post and then walk away.
Bro, look at Merino Boatworks. You see many posts coming through these days? No, fuck all. But, yeah, I'm not like that. I'm definitely not efficient.
I don't think either way is right or wrong.
But I think you learnt that and you saw the benefits of it and different things like that. Let's wind back because I'm actually fucking interested. What on earth did you do before all this yarn? Like, what were you doing before cameras and fucking coffee and... like, you're in Townsville, right? I was in Townsville for so many years at uni and all those things. It's a weird place to do anything out of. I mean, not many people apart from the Cowboys have done anything out of Townsville. I love the place, but what were you doing?
I got a pretty mad story, actually. Like, I grew up in Western Queensland.
Where?
Charleville.
Are you from Charleville?
Yeah, man.
I have lots of mates from out there.
Do you?
Yeah, boarding school. Anyway, fuck that, go.
Yeah, so...
Bilby place, yep.
That's the one. That's the one. So, like, yeah, at the time I was growing up, there was probably like 2,500 people. Small country town. Grew up just usual country boy, playing footy and being on properties and hunting and fishing and all that sort of stuff.
Yellow belly.
Literally, yellow belly, cod,
silver perch,
chasing pigs, had a couple of dogs and all that sort of stuff. Bought my first house when I was 19.
What were your parents doing out there? Were you on a property?
Nah, in town. My mum was the finance head for Queensland Health in the Darling Downs region, like a regional health manager.
Darling Downs, that's it, yeah.
That's the one. And then my old man was a manager of Ergon Energy.
Oh, really?
For the region, yeah.
Sparky.
Yeah, man. So then I did a building trade. So
really?
Carpentry, yeah.
You're a chipologist.
I'm a chipologist.
You're a wood mechanic. Yeah, right.
I am. Yeah, so I did the carpentry trade, and then I was doing all that, and I was like, there's more to life than this. And I wasn't very good at it, in all honesty. Like, I probably could have been good, but I just don't think...
You weren't interested?
I'm one of those people that if I'm good at it, if I have interest in it.
Yeah.
And carpentry, I like being able to do stuff, but like be capable and build things.
But you were building things that you weren't wanting to build, yeah?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And it's physically cooked, man. Like, it's so much effort. I say that now when I'm lugging cameras up hills, but like, it's so physically demanding. You're out in the sun all the day, you're touching hot shit, you're breathing in filth, like lifting heavy things, all that sort of stuff, on your feet all day.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see a future in it. So then I got into national parks, and I started... I worked on...
How old were you at this point?
Oh, shit.
And you're still in Charleville, yeah?
Yeah, still in Charleville. Yeah. I reckon I would have been like 19, 20.
I'm just going to put this on because I'm cold.
You're cold.
There's no snow in the Philippines, bro.
I was like 19, 20, something like
that.
Yeah. And then I moved... I lived in Charleville, and then I worked down on a national park down on the New South Wales-Queensland border in literally the middle of nowhere. Flip it out. You got him.
Oh, so you're actually working for National Parks?
Yeah. Gotcha. I was actually doing like park management out on a national park called Colgoa Floodplain. Yeah. Literally in the middle of nowhere. Heritage place, like old horse and cart tracks back in the day, and heaps of indigenous like springs and heaps of indigenous like rock carvings and all sorts of stuff out there, and a couple of like old heritage buildings and pubs and cemeteries and bits and
You
pieces.
think of that place as real flat, but there's a lot of gorges and sort of oasis areas there that are fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so did that, and then I transferred up to Townsville, catching crocodiles. Super random. You might just have to fix your mic up, bro.
Yeah.
Moved up to Townsville catching crocodiles. So did that with a division of the Queensland government that was like, it called it Environment and Heritage Protection at the time. So same, but just another split off of the Queensland government. So that was like crocodile management.
When you were a kid, were you watching, like when I was a kid, bro, Steve Irwin was massive.
Yeah.
And all I heard was like the old timers rag him out as some weirdo, but I was like idealising him.
Yeah.
So when you were doing that, when you threw the top jaw rope on me, like, fuck, I'm living this child, bro.
Yeah, man, literally, like he was a huge inspo. And I was in, like, as a kid, I was like very into like David Attenborough and wildlife.
Same, mate.
All that sort of
when
stuff.
When Animal Planet had animals, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not ice road truckers.
Yeah. So like then started doing crocodile management, and there was other wildlife management involved. Used to catch turtles, like sea turtles for research. Stand on the bow of like a bow rider boat, and the dude would drive, and it was all cable steer 2-stroke Mercuries with no trim pin, no hydraulic steering, so that you just hit the ground, they just bounce. The leg would just bounce out of the water. Run around the shallows like chasing turtles, and then you'd wear like a wetsuit, and you'd jump off the bow of the boat onto turtles and grab them. Like monsters, like 150, 120 kilo turtles.
Mainly green turtles?
Big, yeah, greenies,
because there's a
hawksbills.
lot around Cape Bowling Green, bro.
Yeah, man.
They grab Trans Ams and gulps like anyone, you know?
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah, so hawksbills and green turtles, doing research and with those guys as well. And the croc management for like problem crocodiles. So did that for a while, and then I got sort of just itchy feet, sick of it. It was like contract work, wasn't much money, all that sort of stuff. And then I got a job with the Australian Institute of Marine Science in Darwin. Ames,
no.
yeah.
Up there in Darwin, but
Yeah. So that was basically setting up facility management for their Darwin facility. They had like 100 and something metre vessel. They used to go to port there and get refits. And
it's fucking massive boat.
Huge, bro.
Yeah.
Used to do trips out to like the outer international borders and everything. Ashmore Reef and like middle of nowhere. So I was doing facility and operations management there for those guys for like, I don't know, 2014, 2015. Excuse me. 2014, 2015. Did some crazy trips to the most remote parts of like North Queensland waters into the Indian Ocean and stuff, like middle of nowhere where you can't even go without like you
What
can't.
is this yarn? I don't know any of this shit.
Mad yarn, bro.
I thought you were gonna be like I was a school teacher and.
Nah, I didn't. I've never really lived a bland life, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that's what you were. I don't know why. But it's not as if it was a passing thought. But I just thought you went, "Fuck this! I'm doing something else." I didn't. It's cool.
Nah, I just sort of just pick stuff up and run with it basically, and just try and see what it's like. But yeah, so I was doing that, and that was like taking me to some crazy places. Just I wasn't qualified to do science, but I could drive boats, I could tie knots, and I could do all that sort of shit, help people out.
Yeah.
I've fished all my life too. Is probably a thing to touch on. Like I've fished as long as I've been alive. As long as I can remember, earliest memory was fishing. And then in Darwin, I was fishing tournaments and
really,
yeah, shit tons, man. Baronats, Barra Classic, Top End Barra Series, like anything you can think of. Heaps of tournament fishing.
I remember you saying you lived in Darwin. I remember you saying that when we first started talking. But I thought you're one of those Townsville people that just fucking grew like a mushroom on the ground in Townsville and always stayed there.
Nah, man. Nah, I've been everywhere. I did a stint in Townsville. That's where I was doing the croc work and stuff. Then to Darwin and did like 5 years there, and then got a job doing similar thing but a higher level for CSIRO in Townsville. Moved back.
Doing data collection.
Nah, facility management, operations management and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So moved back there doing that. In just before COVID, so 2019. Yeah, and moved back to Townsville and been there since. But during the time in Darwin, I've always liked cameras. So I just...
There you go. That's the subliminal thing you didn't even fucking
Same
know about,
principle,
bro.
Yeah. So
every GoPro ad hit you harder than you thought it would.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Literally. So then, I was doing bits and pieces, and I was tied up with a few fishing brands and helping them out with content and bits and pieces. Then I got a camera and just started mucking around doing stuff for free. yada, yada, yada. And then I moved back to Townsville and I was like, I like this better than what I'm doing. So I was doing full-time work for CSIRO, and I end up at a corporate level, like executive, high level, managed a team of 15, 20 people nationally, like over 3 states, like high pressure, like full corporate job, basically, exec job, which I'm pretty good at it, and without pissing in my own pocket, I'm pretty good at that sort of stuff. But I just didn't.
Well, if you're not stressed, you're not being good at it.
Yeah. And I didn't hate it either. Yeah. I just didn't like it. It was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I can earn this couple of $100,000 a year,
but it doesn't have to be any more important than that.
Yeah, the money is just boring. Like, it was just not giving me any fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll start doing a bit more stuff. So then I was like, I reached out to the Game Fishing Club, and they got me on to do
Townsville Game Fishing Club.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So they're still a retainer client.
Yeah, there you go.
They book me for every job.
That's sick.
And yeah, they're really good people, all of them.
And they all must go, I can't believe what you're doing. Sorry about the C word.
That's right. They every event, man, for the last 5 years or something I've shot. So yeah, just basically built a rapport with those guys, and then from my network in the fishing industry and all that sort of stuff.
So what was the point? Sorry for butting in, because it's hard. It's hard when you're doing a left field thing. I mean, it's not left field. It's nothing crazy, but it's not like going to school, doing a trade, or doing a uni where there's just like form work that if you just do that, you'll end up in an area that's sort of close to what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But when you're at a point where you're spending cash or don't even know what you're spending cash on, like, and you're trying to do something out of interest, which is the most important thing in any scenario that no one gives a fuck about. But you still need to keep the bills coming in. What was that transition like? Because I don't know when that was for you.
On and off.
Because like I'm doing it.
Yeah, well, everyone does it, I think. Everyone does it.
Yeah. Guthrie's doing it.
Yeah, man. Literally everybody's doing it. So I was doing it on and off for a while. Yeah. Did a bit of sort of like part-timey consultancy stuff, did the full-time stuff, and then proper kicked it a couple of years ago.
Did you make it? Was there a day where you're like, fuck this, I'm doing it. Nothing else matters, and it doesn't matter if I fail or succeed.
More so like, I don't know why I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's like I was earning it just as much. Like, people think it's crazy, but I was doing like a full 40 hours a week and a business that was earning the same amount of money in a day, worth of work in a day type deal. Like, as in, I didn't explain that properly, but I mean, like, I'm doing 40 hours a week with CSIRO.
You're selling your hours for a fixed amount. However, if I put effort in here, I can make the same in a day.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, I'm doing 40 hours a week with CSIRO, and I'm doing 40 hours a week with, holy. There wasn't a car on the road before that, eh?
No, it's empty him up the road. You can charge those cars up.
True.
Pig slips.
Oh, right. I was doing 40 hours a week for CSIRO, but I'm doing 40 hours a week for myself as well. So I'm like, well, what's the point?
At some point, which one am I going to verge to?
Yeah, well, I had no time, man. Like, because it was all well and good. Like, I was busting my ass, and I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. You won't outwork me. Like, I don't care who you are. You will not.
I come through stages in and out of being efficient and not efficient, but I think the same.
Yeah.
Most people will tell you how hard they're working.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm not saying that me thinking about that or you saying that's important. What I'm saying is I would never feel the need to even tell you I'm working hard. Like, I just do that because I'm doing it out of interest. And you would have been the same. You wouldn't even noticed. It wouldn't even have been a thing.
No.
Like, being tired was the least blip on your radar.
It's irrelevant. It is literally irrelevant.
Bro, I have this weird relationship with sleep, and I have since I left uni. I fucking hate it. I hate bedtime. I actually, my missus thinks I'm crazy because of it, but, what's working hard? Is it staying up and being tired? Is it being efficient and planning your day and being on point? Like, what is it? Whatever the fuck it is, who cares? You know that on this subject, in this space, wherever you are on the earth and whoever you are around, regardless of how efficient you are, regardless of what ingredients you have, regardless of what's around you, you will fucking work way harder than everyone else. And whatever that turns into, who cares? Is that the same with you?
Yeah, I'm a big on.
I don't think that, but I know that. Like, I don't have to think that.
Oh, this cough's going to drive me mad. I'll give an example. Explain it, and then I'll give an example. Is like, I think it's efficient is effort versus results. So, for example, you're out mowing your lawn, and it's 40 degrees, and you're out mowing your lawn, and you mow a strip, and then you stop and you stand in the sun for 2 hours, and then you do another strip, and then all of a sudden you've done your whole lawn, and you've done it in, let's just say you mow your lawn in 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then you walk in, you're like, oh fuck, I've had a massive day. I've just spent 8 hours mowing the lawn. Did you work hard?
Oh yeah.
Or did you just use your time inefficiently and say you did?
I think the physical side is nothing. I think that you would tax your body to a point that you wouldn't even know was detrimental to your health.
Till I get sick.
And the only thing that stops you is when you realise you can't think properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the most important part, because that is what keeps you going. I mean, I've got something wrong with my brain. I think I've got ADHD or something. But
oh, you definitely do. Yeah. I definitely do.
I never did though. This came after you. Like, I never had issues with sleep or things like that. It was mainly when I pursued this. But it's more of excitement. I just don't want to be asleep. It's such a waste of time.
I know. if I didn't value the health benefits of sleep, man, I wish there was a way. I hope humanity eventually invents a method to not have to sleep.
I think it's fucking bullshit.
It's pretty annoying.
Odin, why do we have to sleep,
yeah.
bruh?
Because, man, I could get so much more done if I had another 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Oh.
You spend, you know what's good about, I don't know if it's good, but when you're in flow state, you're in a realm that no one else exists in, you're doing something that is completely irrelevant to society, sitting around, fucking around with cameras, black coffee, whatever you're doing, planning a trip. Like for me, it was coming in here. I'd work up at Groote Island for a week, come back here for a week. I had a crew up there, civil crew. I've nothing to do with concrete, but I was running the civil crew. And then I'd come back here and I'd sand a mould plug for a 26 square metre deck. Never even seen a mould before when I'm trying to make one. I'd be here at 3 a.m, listen to the Conor McGregor bloody a speech about Vincent van Gogh. Or listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about having a clear vision. And none of those, like, I'm not saying idealise those people. It's the last thing I'm saying. So I'm just saying what they were saying to me was relevant at the time. And you sort of live in the underworld. Even when there's people around you, you are not present. And honestly, people look at that as a bad thing. I mean, man, I was just doing everything out of pure interest. There's nothing more important than that. And unfortunately, it taxes other people around you that care about you, and you would have gone through the same shit, right? You were just doing shit. Everyone's like, what the fuck is Wade Kelly up to? Yeah.
And then, like, you go to those big barbecues with all the people and all that sort of stuff, and you show face because you're trying to be a nice person, and all you do is stand around there and it's like, fuck, I'm so bored, man.
You're an emoji. You're an avatar. Yeah.
Oh man, I love my friends, and I love the friends that I have. That, like, there's friends that aren't like me at all, and but still accept me for who I am and understand. But like, they know I'm fucking crazy, and that I gave up trying to explain it to them.
You're cool as a cucumber about it though. Was I'm all right. You're like just.
Yeah, I got to the point where just like me spending energy on it and thinking about it doesn't have any value, man. And like, I give up trying to explain it. If you ask me, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to go out of my way to pitch or preach any of it. Because it costs a heap of money, it costs a heap of time, it costs a heap of stress, it costs a heap of sleep, it costs everything. The curse of ambition costs you everything.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, content without ambition, that's the place to be.
And me trying to tell you why it's a good idea is a waste of everybody's time.
No.
You either got it or you don't.
I think where you're fucked is where you think having to do that's important, but you're not naturally that person. Like, nothing we're doing is important, bro. Like, we're all floating around on a big blue ball, hurling through space. No one knows what it is.
No one's going to give a shit about you when you're dead, man. Like,
exactly.
Even like, do you give a shit that Albert Einstein died? No, he did some crazy shit. Like, he'll be remembered forever because of he had like huge impact he basically shaped humanity, right? And I don't think like any film I make is going to shape humanity. You building boats is probably not going to shape humanity for the future. All those, like, even people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, those kinds of people, probably not. Joe Rogan might, because he paved the way.
Joe, if you ever see this, bruh.
Maybe.
We'll get on there one day with Green Tree.
Yeah, but like he might because he paved the way for like podcasting and this form of media.
He gave voiceless people that were intelligent a voice, bro.
Yeah, and he's the biggest platform in the world. But like people like Einstein and those kind of people, like they'll be remembered forever to a degree. But no one will ever probably remember Albert in like say the next 10 generations. No one's going to remember Albert Einstein for the person that he was, only for the work that he did.
They don't remember his cadence. They don't know who he was.
Nah.
All they remember is he had a couple really good quotes, like Carl Sagan.
Yeah,
bro,
man.
that guy would have been a hard guy to be around. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a crazy person. Nikola Tesla. A lot of other people. Ernest Hemingway, Paulo Coelho. They're only remembered by their work. And all their loved ones despise them for the efforts they put in around them to serve the earth that only gave them neglect. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and literally in 5 generations, in 5 generations they're forgotten about. Anyway, like...
Yeah. Bro, 3 people ago we invented flight. 3 motherfucking people ago.
Literally.
Yep.
Man, it all of the things that you do is irrelevant. Yep. I think the only thing that you need to value how you spend your time while you've got it.
It's sort of what I was... You know, I was saying my dad sort of made me aware of mortality. He would talk about unimportance a lot. And he'd say to me things like, Tom, we are so irrelevant. We are nothing. And what do I mean by it? He would talk about it in a lot of philosophical senses. All he does is read. Mate, all this old fella does is read. And he's a wealth of knowledge in that respect, but he'd always say, I'm a parrot. You know, I'm just reciting what other people have read.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm irrelevant. And I think people now think they're too important. I mean, you have minority groups and people with radical ideas and all these other things and subsets of thought that now have a voice that can be broadcasted upon millions. But we have a biochemistry that's designed to live in a small community. And it sends people fucking crazy. People need to understand how shit we are.
Literally, man. Humanity is way too advanced for its primitive nature.
Yeah.
I think, anyway. But, like, I agree. Like, I think social media pulls people left and right and makes people more opinionated than they need to be.
Yeah.
Whereas if everyone just focused on themselves and optimizing themselves, everything would just get better. But that's never going to happen. And I'm like, you can say, like, we are irrelevant because we are. And people will either take offense to that or they'll be...
I mean, your personal interests are irrelevant, but the human race is very important. Like, we're the only way the universe that we know knows it's around.
Literally.
We are the universe.
So far, yeah. And, like... But, like, a lot of people will take that with pessimism, right? And they'll go like, "Oh, you can't talk like that. That's
You've
pessimistic."
Been doing the mushrooms. Yeah,
literally, it's you can't talk like that. It's like pessimistic, and you're so negative. And bro, I'm real. Like, that's the fucking truth. No one is going to give 2 shits about you in 5 generations' time. Your name will be on a gravestone covered in dust, and no one's going to go there and plant flowers because nobody knew who the fuck you were. So just enjoy your life, man.
Well, one thing Dad would say, you know, I know it sounds like, you know, we're preaching here fucking self-help. Absolutely not. I'm just saying, listen, if you went into everything that you really wanted to do, but you didn't because of some trivial, petty reason, and went, nah, because I'm going to be tired on Monday. If you went into the frame of mind where you were like, you are going to be dead forever real fucking soon, lad. You know, the fact that you were alive, the fact that you've ever lived is extremely rare. Like an order of magnitude you could not possibly comprehend in your
sponge. It's like 1 in like 11 million or some shit, isn't it?
Oh, mate, well, there's that reality that you were rare. It's rare that you've ever lived. And the fact, imagine how rare it is that you've ever lived, but how rare it is you're alive right now. Yeah. You know, the ever-present right now is the rarest fucking existence. So it's not as if I go into things doing that. I'm not doing anything fucking crazy. I don't think anyone has to do anything crazy. I just think don't hold yourself back over dumb shit.
Literally, Melanie and I were driving here today, and we had a conversation about, who was it? The dude that cracked his head on the coffee table and died. Like, it's like a bit of a morbid story, but it's like one of Melanie's friend's mum's brothers or some shit, wasn't it? Or something, no. Something like that. Anyway. Some lady that she knew. Oh, some lady that Melanie lived with in the UK when she was backpacking over there. That's right? Yeah, I got it. Her brother? I'm going to get... Her son. Fuck me, Dad. I'm going to get the story right eventually. Her son suddenly died, like literally the other day. Got up, tripped over, fell and smashed his head on the coffee table and died. Like, but that's how quick, right? Like, you may as well take the risk. Eat the chocolate, have the beer. don't overdo it. But like, say yes, and figure it out. I'm a huge yes person. Like, I literally drove fucking 4.5 hours to do one podcast and have a meeting with a dude that might not even give me work. Like, but just someone I wanted to meet.
Yeah, and people look at you like a fucking madman for it.
That 4 hours might make me fucking $4 million. It might make me a lifelong friend.
You might meet some cool lad,
Yeah. And like, I do these podcasts because I love them and I learn so much from them too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I think it's, this whole time, right, we've been talking about all these things to do with work. And it's like work has this huge thing in people's lives. And it does. I mean, it's a lot of time that you have to set away to do this thing because we've created this framework where you need money and all this other shit. And it sucks that, as humans, we've come to a point where even you and I, who probably think about things, from a different perspective, we've only applied that in talking about taking risks to work. And that's like the human condition, bro. And there are so many other things in your life that even I, I'm the worst for it, don't take into practice. So, what we're talking about in terms of, just doing what you want to do and taking a risk and things like that, people do not do that outside of their working life. It's because we've created a society where work is absolutely everything, because the product of work creates status, the product of work creates fucking
wealth,
4-door 79 series Land Cruisers, top of the range fishing gear and things like that. And even you and I right now are talking about it. I just wonder what it would have been like back in the day when we weren't like this, and what people like you and I would have been talking about.
Man, I don't know. Like
Captain Cook, bro.
He
was that imagine what they were thinking about him.
Man.
So, it's sort of good we're in this time right now because there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, back in the day, if you were different or outside the norm or fucking whatever, just
you
weren't
get burned
even
at the stake for witchcraft, bro.
Oh, bro, I'd be in Auschwitz, mate. So we're super lucky that we can even yarn about this. I have the foresight to think about what I just said and be able to, this country is crazy, mate.
There's so much opportunity here, man.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I grew up in PNG, Ghana, back in Australia, a few other random places. And when you come here and you see how good it is, man. Everyone's whinging about so much, and I'm like, bro, there's fucking bubblers on the Esplanade. There's you don't have to pay to go in a public toilet. There's not that many homeless people. And it's only now that I'm older. It is such a good country, mate. If you start a business or do anything, you think this is a risk in Australia, mate, what you and I are doing is not a risk. Overseas, if you and I did what we were doing, the money doesn't exist. The camera doesn't exist. You would have had to borrow money. And if you went bankrupt, bang.
Dead, yeah.
There's no 7-year grace where you can't travel or start a business. There's none of this shit. There's no taxpayer covering your bloody gap. We're super lucky, man. We're super lucky. And I think everyone needs to realise that. So if living in a country that's so lucky that provides that opportunity for you to excel or do something different in a place like work where you spend so much time, it allows you to do that. Bro, don't steal that from yourself and have a crack, because it doesn't matter whether you succeed or not.
Yeah,
it really doesn't.
People will always try and find an excuse, man. You can blame the government. You can blame your upbringing. You can blame your friends. You can blame your family. You can blame your fucking dog. You can blame whatever you did.
Yeah,
you're responsible for who you are and your future. And everyone is just going to make mistakes, and you just need to be accepting of that. Yeah. Take accountability, and be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah,
and the rest will all fall into place. I've had a really good upbringing, really lucky, I had lots of opportunity and all that sort of stuff. But I earned every penny that I owned.
Oath, mate. Every single penny. Create your luck, lad. Yeah.
Man, I did. Every single penny that's ever been in my bank, I've earned.
Yeah.
Whether it's through rapport and relationships, or whether it's through work for time, for money, every penny I've put blood, sweat and tears into.
Yeah.
And the people that complain that they're so hard done by are the people that will always fail. And they'll always be just there doing nothing, seeing nothing, being nobody.
Yeah.
That no one gives a shit about when you're alive, let alone when you're dead.
Well, it sort of depends on, what mindset you look at failure at. Because if you looked at our general ledger, you would say I was a failure. And, you know, fucking absolutely not, man. Like, I used to stare at those boats outside on a computer screen for 4 years. If I went bankrupt tomorrow, lad, I'll be cheering. I don't think I'm gonna. I'll never allow that.
You've
allow
built,
that to happen.
what, 4 now? 3, 4?
No, it's 5, and then a few other boats that were ours, and then you know we're doing this other stuff now, setting up a bunch of other things, and you know that's all very unimportant. But the fact that we made it real, and in a blink of time like that, something that was so unachievable, like building a boat. Like I can't even make my own bed, man. And then all of a sudden it's there, and all it took was just trying really hard, and every single failure you didn't recognise. All you saw was an opportunity to get out of it. And I think you probably do the same. I'm real erratic, and my mind would just change conversation, different things, and whatever's interesting or shiny at the time. But when shit hits the fan, I'm very calm. And a lot of people would look at that like complacency. And they say, oh, you know, you don't plan for this, you don't do that. And it's like, why, how could I plan for something I didn't know was coming? Don't be fucking stupid. But there is no use in dwelling in failure. It is just a shit. If something's really bad, what purpose does it serve to feel real bad?
Yeah, literally.
You know, it doesn't do
But
shit.
just get on with it. Yeah, like you just.
I don't even feel that. Yeah.
No, I'm the same, and I'm very, very calm under pressure, man. You could be bleeding out in front of me, and I'm pretty chill.
Yeah. The only time it's real bad is when it's some other person's bullshit. And my dad's always said to me, people will always cause you dramas. Your biggest dramas in your life will be other people, and people only do things for 2 reasons: to stop themselves from feeling bad or to make themselves feel good. And that simple balance will fuck you up. And he'd say that all throughout my life. And so far, I've found it to be true.
It's pretty accurate, man, and I have a low tolerance. Like, I got a very low tolerance for stupidity, and I will never apologise for it.
I'm real stupid.
I literally won't. Like, I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. I'm not saying any of that shit.
Self-destruction you're talking about.
Yeah, like just kind of just period. Like people just not using using common sense for simple things, and it just fucking like I just don't have time for it.
Watching people's what's the word for it? Like cadence or their like who they are crumble under a bad scenario makes me like feels like you've just given me the cooties and I don't want to hang out with you because that's that thing I was saying. That's the reaction that you have a reaction that's designed to protect you from something way more severe than this. And you're letting it take over you because you've paid a fucking phone bill late. Settle down. Settle the fuck down.
That is so accurate.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
It blows my mind.
If you recognise that and observe it, you're less of a victim to it.
I preach that a lot, is like separate emotion from any decision. Just remove it.
Yeah.
Like feel how you're going to feel. Go cry, go punch a hole in the wall, go do whatever you want to do. But then come back with a clear head and make a decision based on logic and rationale. Yeah. And you'll very rarely ever fail.
And it's, you know, what we're talking about is generally the bad stuff. But if something real fucking exciting happens or something fun happens, mate, I'll throw myself into that. Yeah. I don't care what the consequences are. What is the benefit of caring about the consequences right before something exciting that you've always waited for happen? Like, that's just crazy. Why go into something so anxious and unprepared? Like, just fucking do it.
Just say yes and figure it out.
Yeah, look, you know, they say, oh, but, you know, have you thought this out? Have you thought that out? What on a fucking earth has shown you that what you just said is important?
Yeah.
Is not the general interest of wanting to do it the most important thing on the earth?
Yeah. I might get carjacked and shot and killed, but I might not. Like,
well, you know MMA, I don't know about that.
You can't do much with MMA when you got a gun pointed at your face, but
yeah, true.
I'm the same, man. Like, yeah, there's all the bad, like, and you'll find bad shit if you go looking for it, and you'll find bad shit if you don't think about what you're doing before you do it. But most of the time, it's not that bad. Like I see people at airports all the time. The first thing that comes to my head is like, people go insane about a missed bag, or a bag didn't make a flight, or they're not going to make a flight. I'm like, listen, man, like what? If you lose a day, is it really the end of the world when you get home a day later? Like, is it that bad?
Exactly.
Why are you carrying on like a pork chop in the airport and pissing everybody else off and making everybody else wait longer because you're carrying on like an idiot because your plane was late? There's nothing you can do to stop the plane. Yeah. There's nothing you can do to find your bag. Your bag's in Dubai, bro. There's nothing you can do about it. So why are you carrying on now?
Yeah. What purpose does it serve that you acting like a fucking imbecile, thinking that you can fix something you had no hope in controlling? Like, the only thing that's going to do is make you look like a fucking idiot. And if you care about that, that sucks. But honestly, you don't need to feel that shit. Like, it is irrelevant. It means nothing.
Yeah.
It is a waste of your own emotion and energy.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't always serve you well thinking in that mindset, but I don't even notice because I don't think like that. So
Nah,
it's fine.
I don't
Only
either.
other people let me know.
Literally.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we haven't eaten in 8 hours. Like, hey, what are we going to eat for lunch? It's like, I never even fucking thought about that. Like, don't even worry. Yeah.
I'm exactly the same, man. It's funny. Tell me about, let's circle back to the boat building thing, man.
Yeah.
What brought up the design concept? Like, why this style of boat? Why this boat? And explain to me what it is and stuff.
Good question.
Just tilt your mic up for me, yeah. I'm not a fan of these stands, to be honest.
I wonder if they take a little pee break. So.
I'm not. Yeah, right. We'll get through this and then we'll have a stop. We're going for an hour. We've been going for an hour.
Yep, right on. So it's not as if I had this space where in my head where I was thinking I've got to be different. The boats I was looking at were not Australian boats. I was only looking at things, mainly the newer things in design, only fishing boats. Like, there's many boats on the planet. There's a lot of uses for boats, things like that. But all I was thinking about was like the best fishing boat when I was finally in the headspace of building boats, right? So what I did was when I was traveling, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do, this is at the very start of our year off when I made the decision to build boats. And then I thought, well, I'm traveling in this car. While I'm traveling, I could get back into 3D modeling in a long time. I didn't need a fucking qualification. There's a lot of shit on YouTube. There's heaps of stuff you could do to self-learn. So I bought a Metabox, laptop workstation. I bought a Dometic fucking cup inverter. Used to charge that thing off the canopy. And then at the time, SolidWorks, which is a really good 3D modeling software that I used to use, it was offered at half price during COVID for the professional version. And this shit was so expensive, man. I think at the time it was still like $14,000. But because I've been saving up for so long to take this trip, I thought, whatever. Before that, buying full cream milk was like, I'd think about it. But at this time, I was just like, fuck it. And I remember thinking that this was the biggest decision I could make, was spending this money on this software, and now it is something so trivial and irrelevant that I just use all the time. So don't let that shit hold you back. But anyway, I did that, and then I started to 3D model boats, and I was looking at core, obviously I'm a mechanical engineer, so I just go, I'm not naturally, that's just what I did, because my dad didn't want me to be a Boilermaker. So, but I understood a lot of things, and I understood that there's misconceptions between, marketing and boat design and things like that. So I was really looking into, I wasn't looking at, oh, that's a sick boat, they're wicked boats. I'm looking going, why is that hull shaped like that? Like, why? What does a chine do? What does this do? And I didn't even know. Like, it must look like a fucking crazy person. And I got obsessive about being a professional at designing boats. And then I was like, wait a minute. After we did the year off, I spent the whole time learning how to design boats, and I started with like a 5-metre tiller. I was practical about it. Like, don't try and, build the Titanic in 3D. Like, just start small and fuck. And I learned about lofting and using planes and surface modelling and organic modelling and things like that, which is at the forefront, whether you do it by hand, on paper, or whatever, with boat design. And then I got to a point where I had to move back to Weipa to pursue this after the travelling. Went back to, working up there, saving money, trying to figure out what I was doing. And I had this sort of realisation after I designed a boat that is very similar to the hybrid. Like, if I showed you this, I never showed our designer from the States any of these pictures, and what came out was the exact refined version of what I always wanted to happen as I saw it in my mind. I could see it in my mind, but I couldn't fucking draw it. And I try and tell people this, like, you draw me a picture of a rose by hand right now. You've seen fucking heaps of roses. Draw a rose. It looked like shit. Try draw it on a computer, bro, in 3D. Like, fuck, it's very difficult. But I was quite good at that. I'm quite creative in that space, and I get a lot out of it, seeing that myself. And I fell into a web where I was getting more out of getting it to look like what I had in my mind than being practical about it and what I was trying to do. And then I realised, mate, in the big boat game, everything's about pedigree, whether it's defence, racing, hull design, whatever the fuck it is. It really is about pedigree, because pedigree means it's proven. And I thought, imagine if I spent all this money building plugs and moulds and things like this, and it was designed by Tom Trembath. I've never designed a boat in my life. I mean, let alone building a boat. Designing it is another thing. Why would I go through all this effort building something that I don't even know how to design? Why do I have to be an expert in that space? And that was like the start of letting go of things. And then I started looking at the boats I actually liked. And I didn't look at why I liked them or any fucking thing like that. It was just a real subconscious, I like these boats. And I started looking through forums and all sorts of things about who designed these boats. And all of a sudden, this whole pursuit of becoming a boat builder, which is not what was in my mind, I just wanted to build these boats for some reason, went on to, hang on a sec, now I'm okay with the idea that I could get someone to take what's in my head and actually do it professionally. And if I'm going to do this, I'm okay to delay it by a couple of years, saving up to pay for this sort of service. So what I did was I found all the boats I liked that were on the forefront, up and coming, or real settled in the American market or European market. You've got like the Freeman Cats, which were at the time were like, still pretty fresh, like asymmetrical big centre console catamarans, crazy things. You got KO, custom boats that did the 264 that centre consoles only had. I was reeling the skiffs. I don't know why. Never even picked up a flyer in my life at that point. And then there was stepped hulls. And it's not as if a stepped hull is like a thing that you need. Like, you don't even need a fucking steering wheel on a boat. You don't need anything to catch fish. But the concept of seeing that most of the major builders, and I'm not talking about, your P-platers boat that's in every single yard, in every single state, that's mass produced. I'm talking about why are these brands that are hard to get access to, that are very expensive, that have all these other design and construction parameters that no one else has. When I read about this stuff, why are they pursuing stepped hulls? And I really got into that. And then I thought, I'm going to figure out who designs all these boats. Building them means fuck all. Everyone can build them. So I looked at, who designed the Freeman boats. It was like Rhodes Design, and then Vectorworks. They did the Sportsmans and, the KO Cats and, so many other things. And then the one dude that stood out as sort of a black sheep was Michael Peters Yacht Design. Yeah. And, he had the pedigree. They started the stepped hulls. He was working with Don Aronow for many years, putting together Formula, Cigarette, Bertram. These are the companies that now we flop in Australia as our main production bloody ethos. We flop these boats and we put them into production. And this was stuff they were doing in the 70s. So what I did was I had a background in engineering and tendering and quoting and construction. And because of that, I didn't even know that would prepare me for this. I could put together scopes, very defined, what I wanted you to give me in a format that would be beneficial to me. This is what I'm trying to do. And I just started sending, RFQs out, like requests for quotes. And then every single quote, I wanted to get into vacuum infusion. People need to understand that starting a boat company has nothing to do with boats. You're a composites company that produces shape. It's the same as like Norweld is a tray manufacturer. They're a sheet metal company. That is what they do. So if you go into boat building thinking you build boats, not understanding that you are actually a business that deals with chemicals that turns liquids into solids, that's all you do. And when you trim it, it fucking looks like a boat. So I understood that very much from the start because I was in construction. You have a bridge, there's dirt, rocks, fucking steel, bits of plywood. So I understood that, and then I just let it completely go. And after seeing, what the deliverables were from all these different boat companies, and actually talking with them and understanding and trying to absorb all this information, like every single word they said, I didn't understand. And subliminally, I would go away while I was on the toilet. I'd usually be flicking through 8-second reels about ancient Egypt. All of a sudden, I'm looking at how to trim composite parts and things like that. And then I just went with Michael Peters. He gave me a price. I sent him an email. He sent me this really compelling email back the first time I contacted him. And it just grabbed me, bro. And then I got the price. I said, this was in April in 1 year. Blew my brains out of my skull. And then I said, I'll be back in a year. And exactly a year later in April, I was like, let's go. And then you know, you don't actually understand what's involved. So, you know, you really shouldn't get too much into the depth of thinking about what's involved in that sort of thing until you get into it. Like, don't curse yourself with thought about the shit you don't know, because the whole design process fucking rocked me, mate. I was like working, had a newborn, FIFO, had a crew. I'd just be in a donga standing on a toilet at 3 a.m. because they're in Sarasota, Florida, every night, learning about boat design and what we wanted to do. And we did this for like 11 months, designing that boat intensely every day. And I learnt a lot. And, you know, I am a parrot a lot in that respects, but it's kind of the OG. So I learnt a lot. And, you know, you learn a lot about marketing bullshit that's in Australia and all other countries regarding boat design. You know, a lot of stuff is not personal opinion. These are tested, simulated, and, you know, in the physical world, confirmed things. It's not like we send a fucking plane up in the air crossing our fingers. It's exactly the same with water. It's just a denser medium. And I learnt a lot about that. And then that was just the only path to take. If I was going to do this and throw everything that I've got in terms of energy and whatever at it, I don't need to be the expert. Let's learn from these people. And now I think I'm in a space where I could actually, you know, be all right designing boats, but I don't want to do that. You know, the boat that I see in the front yard there is exactly the same boat that I had in my mind. I can't believe how well they portrayed my vision in this boat. And it's not that, you know, it's not a one-hit wonder. We've got fucking heaps more in this little brain of mine, but that there is the true representation creatively of everything I've got.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. Let's have a...
I can't fucking believe they did it.
Man,
yeah.
too
But,
good.
Like, designing it was the easiest part, by the way.
Yeah, well, very true.
It's like booking the plane ticket when you go hunting, yeah?
Let's have a bathroom break and we'll hit back onto that. We're back. So we got to the whole like concept behind the design and everything. Like how you got to that, like for you personally, were you trying to achieve a certain outcome with like its, how it's applied to a certain waterway?
The hybrid was like the complete portable land that I needed to do everything that I wanted to do. I mean, you know what sucks about sort of fishing now is that somewhere between like 2000 and 2015, fishing became a boat-based thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, man, we did lots land-based. So when we were in Innisfail at Flying Fish Point, me and my dad would creep around the rocks at all fucking hours of the morning. He'd drag me out of bed at 3 a.m. to go walking around the rocks and catch barra off the rocks and wade through water and all sorts of horrible shit.
I just need to fix that cable, bro. Sorry.
This is just...
Yeah, it's just tapping it. Do the same with me.
Yeah, so like my introduction to fishing, which is all this is fucking about, which is a shame because, you know, it takes you away from those things trying to pursue that thing. But if you were to tell me what was fishing like when you were a kid, if we talk about Australia, it was, you know, getting sabiki jigs and tying a lure to the end. My dad figured out because it looked like a fish chasing little bait fish.
Just watch that cable. Sorry, man. I'm being a pain in the ass. Not your headphone, your mic cable.
That one?
Yeah, the bottom one. Sorry, it's just when you touch it, it sketches. Sorry, man.
Oh, you don't need annoying shit, but you're listening to an annoying voice. That's it.
Hit the sabiki jig thing again, sorry.
Yeah, so if you were to say, well, what was fishing like when you were a kid, it was fuck all bait fishing. My dad was always in lures. He'd paint lures and make lures and all these things, which I didn't notice until now. Like I've got a box of like lures that he'd made and things I did as a kid. But we used to go down to the rocks with my mum and my brother off Flying Fish Point. We'd get sabiki jigs and we'd like cut the brass swivel off the end because he hated how big they were, and we'd tie a little swivel. This is back when leaders were tied on the swivels, ladies and gentlemen. And monofilament lines, and then we get like a little Rapala lure and put them behind like 6 sabiki jigs. And we'd just cast them out and swim and jerk the lures around, and it looked like a little bait fish chasing a whole heap of little bait fish. And we catch these little GTs and schooling trevally. And my mum's Filipino. Like she would eat those things, and we bro, I'm not above a fried little trevally, right? And that's what fishing was like for me in Australia as a kid. And we go do that all hours of the morning, at night. Any chance we would, we go doing that sort of thing. And then, you know, we moved, this is after Africa really, but, you know, in Africa, what fishing was to me was, you know, Dad would be working his ass off. We'd be at a Bosso, which is in like central Ghana, And everything we did was waiting to pack the car to go to places like Accra, Takoradi or Axum Beach. And these were places, these are not tourist destinations. I mean, this is on the Ivory Coast, and we would fish under Portuguese slave castles. And the whole coastline there is littered with Portuguese slave castles. And we would wake up early in the morning at a resort, which is not what you're thinking as a resort. It's much more beautiful, much more primitive. And we'd be the only white people there, even though I'm not white. And we would go and get our fiberglass rods that we'd take, put in a tube and waited fucking a year to arrive in Australia. All our shit, not stuff you'd buy on the internet. And we would walk down early in the morning with all these staring eyes and fish on the rocks underneath this massive Portuguese slave castle. And we would catch mangrove jacks, and that was our thing. We'd go catching mangrove jacks. And we would smash them off the rocks, and we'd be so stoked about it. And we did that for years. And that's what fishing was like. So it's not as if boats had anything to do with what fishing was like for me. They were only the thing that was present to get you there. And then after, fishing in Africa and a few other places, we moved back to Papua New Guinea where I was born. And I remember Dad raving on about black bass. Black bass, I'd never even fucking heard that term. When I thought of a bass, I thought of an American bass, which they call black bass as well, I believe. So I had no idea. And he'd say it's like a big finger mark. And every time we'd move somewhere, there was like no warning. Dad would be like, we're moving to Papua New Guinea, or we're moving to fucking Guinea in Northwest Africa, or we're moving to Zambia, whatever. And I just, that's how we lived. I didn't understand that. I didn't think to question it. I mean, it wasn't a conversation that a kid had with their dad either way. Mum and Dad would have that. So we moved back to Papua New Guinea in the Western Province on the Fly River. And I finished primary school in a town called Tabooble. It's like a really high altitude town in the Star Mountains. It was one of the rainiest towns in the world, I believe. They got like 30 full days of sunshine a year or something like that. Used to be walking down to school and there'd be a fucking cloud rolling down.
That sounds awful.
It was sick.
Sounds like Babinda.
It's not as bad as Babinda. Good bakery, but anyway, you just be like walking to school. Umbrellas were a thing there. Like I remember, like the expat wives would, their only fashion glimpse would be what brand umbrella you'd have or whatever. And there used to be these dehumidifiers that were in every single cupboard to make sure mushrooms didn't grow on your clothes. It was that moist. And Dad worked at the port in a town called Kiunga, which was a plateau. And this was really far from the mine. Tabooble's like up in the mountains, and they'd mine copper and gold, and they'd pump the slurry down this big steel pipeline down to a place called Kiunga. Dad was there. I'd do primary school during the week, and then me and Mum would hop on a twin otter, fly down to Kiunga on the weekends. And we'd taken our boat from Innisfail, which was like a 4.6 or 4.4 CJ Magnum with an Enduro on the back, little hummingbird sounder, bucket full of lures, and we'd go fish the Fly River. And, there's a lot that happened around in that time, and that's where really it got fucking serious fishing, Back then, it was sort of like whatever families do, kick the ball in the yard. That's what fishing was like. And then when we got to Papua New Guinea the second time, that's when fishing for me was just like, this is what we do, bro. So the first time I'd ever caught a black bass, there was this guy named Glenn Short, and he was a local guy. He's an Aussie guy. He actually grew up in South America. And he owned the hardware store across from the market in Kiunga. This is not a town people visit. This is a pretty wild town. There's not many expats there. And he had a son named Francis, and, he had a local wife. And Francis was half-caste, so he's a bit like me. And him and I caught on like a house on fire. We're the same age, and we used to go walking through villages and all sorts of crazy shit. But the main thing was Glenn used to fish the Fly River, and it was a place where he used to fish mainly was called the Junction. That's what we called it. And it was where the Fly River met the Alice River, which is, I believe incorrectly named, the Octetti River, which is about a 40-minute hike. And the first time I went black bass fishing, we were waiting for our boat to arrive. And Glenn spun me all these yarns about black bass. I'd never even seen one. Like, you didn't have a phone to Google shit. I was probably like 12 or 13, something like that. Anyway, he was telling me as we were coming up to this creek that, this river has a massive volumetric outflow. Like, in a 48-hour period, it could drop 5 metres vertically overnight, or something like that. Well, over 2 nights, if it didn't rain in the Star Mountains. It's a massive catchment, one of the largest rivers in the world. It's fucking huge. And we were at the headwaters. We were like 900 k's from the mouth, something like that. And it was still enormous. It's a massive river. So we were going down towards the junction. And as the river drops, it's really muddy. All the lagoons and plateau sort of swamps start to feed out into these little creeks. And there aren't too many creeks. So when they do flood out, it's like tannin water running into a treacherous, muddy Milo sort of mix-up. And in those clear tannin waters, that's where the big bass would hang around. There's barra, catfish, funny-looking Saratoga things, sooties, all that. But the big bass would tend to hang around sort of ledges, the odd stump, not the thick, sort of pandanus palms that would hang over. And he was spinning me these yarns as I'm learning about these fish. And they loved trolling. Like, he loved trolling. I hated trolling. And I remember I had like a Abu 7000 on a Silstar rod. It was one of my dad's favourite rods. I fucking hate that rod. But I had a redhead black-bodied Scorpion RMG on. And this is when like the RMGs first came out. These were like cutting edge, bro. This was like what Minn Coders did the fishing realm, the RMG. And I was just trolling this along as we came into the first creek I'd ever seen, exactly described as what he'd said. And I hooked this bass, man. And mate, like I've caught a fair few fish, I'm not saying these fish are out of this realm or anything. It's just not what I expected because I'm in a creek. They said it was like a finger mark, and I hadn't seen a picture of one. And then fighting it was intense because I hooked it like right in the main flow of the river. This thing is always flowing out. This river's pumping, mate. And I actually was gobsmacked at what I was fighting. And then we got it to the surface. It was a fucking enormous black bass. It was the biggest one he'd ever seen. He'd been living in the Western Province for 30 years, whatever it was. And he said to me, mate, that is the biggest bass I've ever seen. It was the first one I've ever caught. And we kept it, and we took it home, and my dad saw it. And I've got a fair few photos of it. Like, mate, I still think like we caught nothing anywhere close to the size of that fish. It was massive, and from that point, that's sort of where fishing got very, very serious between me and Dad, my brother and Mum. And we'd be at boarding school at St Brennan's College in Yeppoon. Everyone would go to Charleville, Longreach, Roma, Doringa, wherever the fuck they were from, and we'd fly to the Western Province and just itching to go fishing. And we'd jump in our tinny, go down 40 minutes down to this area, and we learned a lot about that place. We did a lot of fishing there, man. It's not like it was one of those things that became like clockwork. And we had, our own different schemes and lures and all sorts of stuff. And it was a sick time in my life. Because you're growing up, and I'm living in Australia now. I wasn't overseas, and it's exciting there. But then we were going back and doing this fishing. And then I had no idea how rare it was. We caught hundreds and hundreds of bass and barra in that river. And you sort of think that you know a lot about fishing. We didn't know fuck all about fishing. We just knew how to catch black bass in the Fly River. And I guess from there, it was a natural progression, sort of like when people go barra fishing and then they morph into fly fishing because they've had that challenge and there's less barriers in front of them anymore. And if you challenge yourself in things, and there's always more challenges. You don't even see them in fishing. I mean, barra, they're a kind of a fish, really. But once you'd caught a few, the goal was catching them. You sort of naturally progress into other things. And I guess it just turned to boats, and I didn't even know.
That's a pretty crazy story, man. I might just get you to move your cable. So, see that? Nah, not your headphone cable, your microphone cable. Just grab it, and it's hanging down there, and put it up over that knob. Just your watch keeps hitting it.
This one?
Yeah, your watch keeps hitting it, and you can hear it. No, it doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter. It's like all of this is every single podcast ever is always like, because it's so random. Like
Jamie.
Jamie, fix that up. No, it's literally always like this because it's like, anyone who regularly listens to my shit will hear all the mic bumps and all the shit because I'm like bringing. I didn't even know what table, what chairs, what light, what nothing. It's always winged it. That's cool, man. Like it's sick that, like that's a sick. And I didn't think you were going to take it down that road. Like the segue from redirecting your love for fishing with like a side love for boats as an application to a catch fish to then going into boat design as a progression point never crossed my mind.
It's not as if, I mean, like for right now, like I'm building this fucking skiff here that, we designed one of the people who was heavily invested in Hells Bay Boatworks and, at the forefront of skiff design. I mean, mate, just a lad in Edmonton. I mean, like I really want to get into fly fishing and I've done a fair bit of it, but not a fly fisherman's asshole, but I'm spending so much time having to work in my life, like everyone does. So why not do something that's on the peripherals of interest? You know what I mean? So, you know, if you like going to remote destinations and a four-wheel drive gets you there, look, you know, there's a lot of other things you could sell your soul to apart from getting into cars. I don't know. But, you know, like a boat is just portable land. It's very expensive real estate. And it takes you to where you want to go. And that's sort of what I meant was how fishing morphed in the public's eyes, maybe through social media. Fishing used to be like predominantly a land-based thing, I feel. I remember reading magazines and a lot of it was land-based, and then it sort of moved into boats. Now, I don't sit around jerking off over boats, but it is somewhere in the realm that I know that I can do that as a normal human being. I know I can gain the information and meet the people that I need to and get a team together that loves the same thing, and it's around fishing. And mate, it has been the most rewarding bastard of a journey so far. And I feel like you know, you love being outdoors. You like learning about nature. I'm much the same. But for you, you get to tell the story and meet like-minded people. Go and do those things and get what you want out of it and make a living from it. Now, you're doing it a lot more direct than I am, but it's so much more satisfying selling your hours to your own thought than it is to someone else. And I think you would say the same.
100%, man. That's why we're in this game. Yeah. That's why we're here, is like your own thought. Literally, that's a fucking very good saying, and I'm going to keep that.
There's nothing more important than personal interest.
Man, that's very, very true.
No business decision, nothing else, I mean, is genuinely, authentically more important than just doing what the fuck you want to do without interrupting anyone else's day. Yeah.
Explain to me you said it's the most rewarding bastard of a journey. Explain that to me. Excuse me.
You know, you could just look at it like the simplest form of anything, really. I mean, like, you know, if you're into cooking, man, and you spend the time and you cook an excellent meal, you eat it, it's great. So, you know, when you're in a career or job or whatever the fuck you're doing where it depends how you get job satisfaction or satisfaction in general. Fuck the job part. How do you get satisfaction? So if you're a creative person, you would get satisfaction out of seeing something you created. Now, I'm a creative person and I'm a little bit artistic, but you know, I've got a very practical mind, and those two realms don't necessarily mix, generally, right? For you it mixes because you get to create something that you did practically in a form factor that people get to look at, and you fucking look at it and go, man, that was amazing, look at the story I just told. Now with boats, yeah, it's pretty hard to get that, you know, but I always enjoyed doing something and then seeing the end result. Now, you know, if you were, you know, what we were doing, construction or mining, whatever we were doing, mate, there was fuck all rewarding about that to me. You spend all these hours, all this brain process. Now, I feel like I was good at it to a point, but it was taxing on the things I think about when I lay in bed at night.
What do you mean?
Like I felt like I was, you know, I literally felt time passing through my veins, and I felt like I was wasting my life. At a point, I never felt that, and while I was trying to get to that point. And then I just thought, what the fuck am I doing? Like when I was driving back to my old desk, and I just thought, bro, this is fucked. What am I going to do after this, you know, 1 year hiatus? I'm not going back to that. I cannot go back down that path because that path leads to fuck all. If you know you're on mortality. So with boat, like I always loved drawing. I loved art. I don't know why. You know, I always played guitar, was very good at music, things like that. But there was nothing that I could do at my work that was like an expression of that. Like, it's not as if I seek that, but I definitely understood that I got something out of it. So seeing those hybrids in the front there, which I had every single thing to do with the decisions of that boat and why it's the way it is and things like that. Yeah, it looks amazing. Who gives a fuck about how it looks? That is a unbelievably performing boat. It is amazing. It's built so well. To the best that we can do anyway. There's other people doing different things, but what we're doing with those boats, given what we've got and how we started, it's actually amazing that a bunch of dedicated retards pointing in the same direction.
Dedicated retard.
Seriously, like we're just a bunch of idiots. Pointing in the same direction can actually build something like that. And it's like yourself, like look what's going on around you now. You know, fuck, you've had a lot of help because people looked at you and went, right, I'm going to join on this. I want to tag in on this and I'll get something out of it. It was the same for me. And there's nothing more beneficial than spending so long building something and driving it down the river at 90 k's an hour to do the best thing you could possibly think of in your spare time, which is fucking fishing. And it doesn't need to be any more important than that.
It's pretty good that it circles around to that too. And like, there's a level of satisfaction to people, for you, people purchasing, like giving you their hard-earned money.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then you giving them something that you built with your own blood, sweat and tears for the last decade. And you give that to them, you know what I mean?
It was weird when you hadn't built a boat before. You know, because you didn't even know if you could build. Like we're vacuum infusing, using cores that, you know, we're just not building them.
I remember when you were hand laying this shit, bro.
Yeah.
Hull 001.
Yeah, and we hand laid them like they were infused. We did every single thing the same. You know, we're not just going into this blindly. We know exactly what we need to do, and we don't let it out the door until it's like that. You know, and that's School of Hard Knocks. We fucking wore a lot of that. And I was selling the first boat to a really good mate of mine that we decided he would buy at the Weeper Golf Club drunk one day over a handshake, and he did it, and he committed, he took the risk, and fucking he took a risk. And now he has the most amazing boat that I think, given how he fishes, he could get. And it's sort of like, what are you purchasing, bro? What are you actually purchasing? That guy has a fucking really well-built boat designed by one of the most highly decorated, you know, naval architecture firms in the world, built by a bunch of retards in Edmonton. And I think that's fucking amazing because, you know, like Tom Trembath did not build Merino Boatworks. You know, there's a few people there that absolutely are Merino Boatworks. We've got like, you know, Braden, Ethan, Josh, Zerky, Numa, Mason, all these people that are just, we're all young men.
Why are they so committed to your cause?
I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. They have done things for me I would never do for any employee that I've ever had. And you know, two of those guys would fly up in their spare time in between swings just to help me, and they still do it, mate. And it made me realise that, bro, it must be a thing where you see someone doing something out of interest that you want to tag along. Because I've done that, not knowing, and they just did it. And, you know, I owe them a lot in that respect because they followed someone who was literally walking in the dark. I'm not a boat builder, but I knew from construction that if I had the details, a group of people could go and build something they've never fucking seen before. It was possible. I was like, oi, I'm running like a very large cathodic protection job on the Mission River Bridge. I have no idea about electrical work. We successfully completed that. It was like over 100-man job, ferrying boats, all this shit. Surely I can build boats. And dumber people have done way smarter shit. So forget the time frame and just, if you spent 5 hours a day, 12 hours a week learning about something you're interested in 2 weeks, you'd know so much more about something you didn't. And you do that every day, 48 weeks a year, chasing someone else's dream. You know, I'm not saying that you need to do that. What I'm saying is if you just put a little bit of time away into something you're interested in, you'll get like an experience that you wouldn't believe, or you could make it tangible.
How, obviously those boys followed you because you had something unique, because they could have done that for anybody, right? What do you think that was?
It must have been like passion or enthusiasm. You know, so like I there's a lot of people I want to talk to and meet and listen to. Like you're one of them.
I'm nobody, bro.
Yeah, same. You're one of them, but think about all the people you would listen to on a podcast. Like, you're not looking at them because they're famous. You know about them because they're famous.
It's a knowledge. Yeah.
You know about them because they're famous, but what they're saying isn't famous. What they're saying is an authentic yarn that you're very interested in. I must have come across that way because I actually, you know, there's one guy, Braden, you know, this is just a kid. He's got his dream job. I see that. I see that in his eyes. It's something I pursued for a long time, is having that. He comes in here, mate, this kid just grew up in bloody Cairns, you know, little skinny fella on the Holocaust diet. And now he runs the floor building what I think is a world-class boat. And he will keep doing that as long as he's interested with all the other things we do. And I'm very happy for him. And I'm glad I could do that, you know.
What's your take on those kind of people that will like, they'll come and go, right? So he might get a missus, get married, move towns, whatever, and like leave. I know a lot of companies and businesses and people try and hang on and have an unrealistic expectation that everyone's going to stay forever. What's your stance there?
Fuck it, it's sort of weird, like that's sort of a question you'd spin on someone and they're like, I've never thought about that. I have thought about that so much because my dad showed me, he had this thing where we he'd go from a mine, move into another mine, and he would get rid of as many expats as he could because they didn't need to be there, and he would train the locals. And he'd always say to me, Tom, if one of your workers can replace you, you've done your job. Your job is to make them better than you. And this is from a young age. Like, this is the cooked yarns he used to have me as a kid. And 100%, I soon realised, when you're trying to build a product, same for you in your coffee, you're thinking about things you've never thought about, right? You're thinking about all these things you never thought about, because I had boats in my mind, but I'm thinking about hiring people, putting ads out, what I need to do, like capabilities, all this shit, for something I've never done before. I quickly realised that the knowledge base for composites in Australia is fuck all. I mean, people, fiberglass, but I'm talking about...
Or getting good service from people that do know, bro.
Exactly. There's this culture in Australia where knowledge apparently is so valuable that it should not be shared. But when I contacted all the American builders, like a lot of stuff I learned through contacting people that worked at some of the, forefront boat building firms in Florida. And that's the truth. Guys that built the plugs for the companies I was talking about earlier. Literally just Instagram messaging or video calling those pages, and someone would pick up and I'd just spin a yarn, and now we're good friends. And that's exactly how that started. And what I saw was that they would share the information and get enjoyment from it. But if you don't know someone in Australia, for some reason, people are reluctant to share that information, which is weird, because when I tell someone something that I think I know about, and they get something out of it, I feel like I get enjoyment from it, and vice versa. If I was talking to a mud crabber about crabbing and he told me about crabbing, I'd fucking froth it. So I don't understand why when you're getting paid to do something, you cut that off, because that's very fucking Australian. So I realised that there's no knowledge base in Australia for composites, and I don't mean fiberglassing and fucking putting resin on something. I'm talking about high-end composites, vacuum infusing, the principles behind it. There's no information. There's no textbooks. There's nothing about the actual technical side of doing this, not building boats. But I realised I could train people that were interested in learning that. So literally every single person we hired, they're composites technicians now. So why not fix the fucking problem for myself? If one of those guys goes to anywhere else in Australia in terms of composites, fucking good on them, bro. I will back you 100%. I'll write you the best bloody, the best reference you'd ever get, and beg you to stay. And that's all I could do.
I'm exactly the same. And I echo the whole train people to take your job.
Yeah. I don't want to do shit.
No, well, that's the only way to scale your business too. And like, that's a shout out to like Kyle, one of my guys.
He's the blonde dude?
He's like, brown haired guy. Like he's on the Holocaust diet too.
As soon as I started this boat company, I just started hanging around anorexic people. It's weird. Lucas.
Yeah. He's like, he works so hard and puts in so much extra effort for me, and he's better than me on camera.
Yep.
And better than me at editing. In the space of 2 years, and I spent 10. I arguably did it solo myself and never had to learn, and he had the ability to come on board and already had the workshops and the platforms and the experience and the clientele, whereas I had to do all of that plus learn to film. But he's like come on board, and in 2 years, just like in his own time, learnt all the shit he needed to learn. He's
self-learning.
Man, and that's
like, the thing. That's what Braden did.
Literally. And like,
that's what I was like,
yeah, I'll give him a slice of the pie.
Yeah, I'd do the same.
Like he will be a part of the business, and he will not buy in. And I've said this on other podcasts before too, like he will not buy into my business. I will give him a piece for the blood, sweat and his tears that he put in for the years, because he could see my vision.
Yeah.
And he's helping me achieve what I want to achieve. So like, I will literally cut a slice of the pie and give it to him for $0.
Bro, how good would it be to be able to give a dude that helped you so much? Like, yes, he was getting paid to do it, but mate, that's not the same. It's not what I'm talking about. If I could fucking give him the keys to a dual cab 79 one day and be like, thank you, lad, this is yours, but just put a Merino sign on it, I would love that. I would love that because it means nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
it's a really good gesture.
It's just something I want to do. It's weird.
I'm the same.
That's all of them. It's all of them. Like, you know, we were talking about earlier about being able to control your circle at work is I don't want, you know, how shit is it when you work with 100 people but one lad is taking up mental thought, you don't want to be around that person, it's affecting how you behave, things like that. It's very unnecessary because you're all standing around holding your dicks doing something you don't want to do. So in a place where you're doing something that has purpose for yourself, don't let that happen. And you get to control that. And I think, you know, we've got it pretty good here. We've got a good cadence. You know, I'm running around like a fucking idiot sometimes, and I don't necessarily get to put the time in with them that I want to. But you know, there's nothing bad about getting thrown under the bus sometimes. And these guys, you know, they're very capable composites people. And man, have a fucking look at that boat at the front. You know, like
it's gorgeous.
These guys did this from nothing. They did this out of interest and learning and reading and listening to my shit. And I sort of play it off, but I think people should look at that and realise that we are just a bunch of dickheads. And you can actually do shit. You can build a vehicle, mate. You know, like, fuck. You can actually do shit. And you don't have to have every fucking step planned out before you. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If you're in that frame of mind.
You have to be in that frame of mind to succeed. Nothing ever goes to plan.
How the hell did you go from... You used to put up a lot of videos and used to put stuff up about delayed gratification. I was sort of on that as well. I remember that. At the same time, I was on that. And you did a lot of editing at the time, and that's probably why you're in a space where you'd post that sort of stuff. And you probably don't do as much now with that sort of core part of your business. How did you go from filming some shit to going to Satakama, my dream destination for fishing in Gabon, you know, in this short time frame, learning off YouTube forums and just Googling shit?
Hours outside of your actual work, learning on the job but learning outside the job.
Yeah. Putting
yourself out there. So like, I just, like I said before, like say yes and figure it out. So
I just chew like fuck.
Literally, that is going to be on my gravestone, man. Is bite off, the quote is bite off more than you can chew, and chew like fuck. That is my life mantra, my friend. Yeah. But like, just say yes and put yourself out there. And like, I will throw 100 blind darts into the darkness.
Same.
And 10 will hit. Like, and it's like you just have to push through the
whole. You only see the 10 that hit, yeah.
Literally, and you just have to push through the no's. There's shit tons of no's, or people don't even reply at all, leave you on red, say nothing, don't want nothing to do with you, talk shit about you, whatever it is. You just have to like ignore those and keep pushing, and just keep pushing, just putting yourself out there and reach out. And you see something that resonates, just talk to the person, all that sort of stuff. So I just continued to do that. Like, hey, can I come? I really like your brand, and they're like, oh, we don't have a budget, or we don't want to. We've already got marketing allocated. We've already got guys to do our work. Yeah, can I come and I'll work for free?
Yeah.
Be willing to put yourself out there and work for free. Like, don't think your time's worth shit at the start of it. Like, our time's
no knowledge. Yeah.
Now, like for us, we're expensive. Like we are.
Same.
We're quite expensive, and I don't care. Like, the people that give me the most curry are the people that penny pinch and fuck me around. Like, I have no fucking interest in talking to those people, man. I don't want to deal with that, because it costs me more time going back and forth with you than actually doing someone else's work that wants to pay.
Mate,
so
he's results driven, not what can I afford driven.
Yeah, and also it's not about trading time for money. It's about what your product's worth. So like, one of the biggest hurdles that I had to go through with brands is like, you're charging X amount of dollars for this project that only took this long. Yeah. But you're set to make, from the content that we produce from that, you're set to make millions, potentially millions.
You have to be practical about the outcome for them as well, yeah.
Literally. So like, the outcome from what we produce for you could and will create you millions of dollars in income. So like, why can't I charge what that project is worth rather than trading time for money? So like, willing to sift through all of that. So work for free. and put yourself out there. Just continually ask. I always just ask. Like Yako, literally the Gabon thing, Satakama, was random as hell. Like I very rarely scroll, and this one random day I was scrolling on the internet, and Yako put a post up of him holding a giant African threadfin, and he's like, "Oh, I've got something
on the surf in the dark."
Literally,
Yep.
And I've got a rapport with Yako from years ago, so we've talked and stuff, so it wasn't too bad. But I just flicked him a message on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey man, a date's still available. I'd love to come and shoot it." Excuse me. And he's like, "Sweet. Let me look into it. I'll figure it out, and I'll get back to you." And he came back to me. He's like, "Let's put IF4, which is the International Fly Fishing Film Tour. Put a film tour submission in. Yeti's going to support it. Monster Energy's going to support it, and his brands are supporting it and stuff like that." And he's, "Let's go and do it." And I was like, he's like, "Sweet. There's 2 spots. Here's your flights, and here's your yada 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 yada," and off we went.
You're the only person that I know that even knows what the word Satakama, like what that is. You know, so many times I've said to people, "I want to go to Satakama because it's this cracking crazy spot in Gabon where off the beach you can catch tarpon, kubera snapper, threadfin salmon,
Jack Crevalle.
Like this is in the corner of the Ivory Coast. Like Gabon is like, man, there's child slavery
Middle
there.
of nowhere,
it's the middle of
bro.
butt fuck nowhere, mate. And this is where we're, human race is from. And it's such a weird area for this to all be happening. And then you said, you just rocked up and you were like, "I'm going to Satakama." And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But it actually blew. I was very impressed, man, because, I've watched you, not impressed from like a fanboy standpoint. I mean, good for you, lad.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck did you just say? That's not something that would have come out of your mouth 4 years ago.
Yeah, no way. And like, it just got to the point where I was just like, yeah, I'll ask. But the one thing that people fuck up, right, is they'll go and they'll reach out, "I'd love to come, man," and yada yada. And then you get the opportunity and they go, "Here, righto, come then." And they go, "Oh, I can't afford it," or "I can't make the time," or "I've got..."
Yeah.
Nah, you can't go there and reach out to people and say, "I'll come do it," and then bail or not show or not commit.
Yeah.
Because that's just going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and you're never going to get a good reputation from it. And I've got a pretty good reputation in the industry from most people. Like the fishing industry, for example, is like super toxic, and the hunting industry is not much better.
So weird.
Excuse me, this fucking cough. But both industries have got like a lot of toxicity in them and egos and everything. But I get along with people on both sides of the fence. Like people, I've got friends. From friends with one bloke that hates another bloke, and I'm friends with both of them.
Yeah, bro.
Like a lot of that.
I live in this realm.
Because I just don't play in that game, man. And my business is built on trust and reputation. I've signed one NDA, and I've got enough information, footage, and content for new products and concepts and films and releases and secret shit that would ruin careers, ruin marriages, man, like you would not believe the shit I've got.
You've got that Morgan Freeman comfort though in your voice.
Do I?
Yeah.
That's relaxing. But like, legit, like, I've had one NDA, and it's with a client that doesn't know who we are and what we do, and he's protecting his best interest. And I don't have a problem with NDAs, but a lot of the people that reached out and have booked us for work have got references from people that I know or know me.
Yeah. Rapport is everything.
Man, never question price. I have very little issues with anybody. I don't even know if people talk shit about me, to be honest, because no one gives me heckle.
No.
And I don't know if they just give me heckle behind me back.
Because you don't read the comments.
That too. I'm fucking terrible at that. But
I'm joking.
like, I guess, circling back to what you're saying is like, I just put myself out there. If I see an opportunity, go, fuck, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Can I do it? I don't even know if I can do it. I'm just going to ask.
Yeah.
What's the worst?
But it's not even a thought, is it?
I just did it. I literally saw that post. Oh my God.
Like, I would love you moving up from Victoria to hang out with you.
Literally, man, like I was like, I've been trying to catch up with Isaac. So I mentioned him a couple of times now, and like Isaac is one of the owners. Yeah, I'll have one, man.
Oh mate, what a legend that dude is. All of those people.
Isaac is one of the directors of Norweld Australia, and Norweld's like one of the biggest and best and most well-networked, well-marketed sheet metal fabricators for trays, ute trays and canopies in Australia. And they got really good ambassadors. They're incredible. We'll look them up. But anyway, he's one of the directors. I've chatted to him over the years. He listens to my podcasts. He's seen my content. He knows that I do combat sports and all this sort of stuff. And he, we've been planning to catch up for years, literally years. And literally. And then I was just like, one day I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I sort of forgot we had that chat. And yada yada, reached out to him. And we went back and forth, and he was at field days and all this other things at Mariba. And we tried to line up, never worked. He's busy, I'm busy. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, oh, I've got to come up here, pick up my boat to shoot this job next week, this fly fishing film job that I'm doing. And I just messaged Isaac and said, hey, are you available? And he's like, yep, no worries. I literally drove 4.5 hours to pick a boat up, do a podcast and have a meeting with somebody. And like, I didn't have to. I could have come up here, got my boat and went home. I could have come up on the day it was like tomorrow when you're done with it, pick it up at whatever time and then turn around and drive home again. Yeah. But I chose to come and pay for accommodation and pay for food.
You just knew there was a void for opportunity, and it doesn't necessarily have to be business, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like you, right? There's no financial benefit right now for me sitting here with you.
No.
But, lad, I'm very interested in being a fucking peripheral on one of these trips you do, because that is what everything is about. It has nothing to do, you know, you can go chase the opportunity that's like a financial outcome or whatever. But if you sort of hold vacancy for just opportunity, whether it be a fucking tractor bonnet or a boat or hanging out, doing a podcast or whatever it is, they just leave a vacancy to learn something. People like Isaac become a very valuable person. And it's people that are authentic. That has to be the basis of everything, because so many people are full of fucking shit.
And he's one of the most genuine dudes you'll ever meet. But like,
he's just himself.
Man, I love it. He's exactly who I thought he'd be when I met him.
He's a weirdo like all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, just those little 5%ers, 1%ers, man, just put yourself out there and take the chance. Like, if it's a bit of extra effort and it's a bit of extra cost and you can afford it and it's a bit of extra time, like, I'm fucking dog tired. I slept like shit last night. Yeah. Did it anyway. Like, because who knows? Like, I didn't go here with any intention to get a contract with Norweld. I did it to network and shake hands and meet someone that enjoys me for who I am, and I enjoy him for what he's done and who he's done. And I look up to people like that, because he's built a multi-squillion dollar industry, a business in a very saturated industry, right? So I've got a lot to learn from that man, and I learned shit tons today just having a normal conversation as friends.
Talking shit.
Yeah, and then we've been flirting with doing this for ages. Excuse me. We've been flirting with doing this for ages, and it was just a really good opportunity to tick that off. And it won't be the last one that we do.
No. We're going to do some stuff. It sort of sucks when you get busy, to be honest.
It does in a way.
Yeah, because you're always trying to align things. But I definitely think people definitely see the effort. You know, my dad used to say to me, you know, he always says to me, you're a Trembath, keep your word. And, you know, my word is kept often late. But he says, he told me this yarn one day. He said, you know, back in the day, if I said to a girl, I'm going to meet you on Tuesday at the dance in Alice Springs, and I didn't rock up, mate, I'd be a fucking dog. And an old man would jump in his fucking panel van, come bash my brains in.
Exactly the same principle, man.
Now it is so easy to bail out of things. I do it, and I'm a victim of it. Everyone does. And I think people need to understand that their word carries even more weight now, because it's so easily thrown away.
Especially in this day and age, man.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know if anyone sees what Merino Boatworks done the last year, but we haven't built a boat. And a lot of that was keeping my fucking word. And, you know, the reasons behind that are not necessarily important, but we're still here. We're still going to build the best boats that we possibly can, and you know, get people fishing out of these ridiculous rigs. But sometimes you just have to wait a little bit. I think that people's, you know, weight and what they do is so easy now to actually show people, because small gestures like driving 4 hours were so normal. And something like that is important now. So if you do want to see people that, or learn something from someone, it's not that big of a deal, and it carries weight.
A man's word is worth a person, but come from a masculine perspective, is like, a man's word is everything, man. You can be the best at your job. You can be the best. You can have the best skills. You can have the best car, the most money, the fucking biggest business. You can have any of that shit.
Whatever the fuck, yeah.
But if you're not a man of your word, your ship will sink. Like you will come undone in a very short amount of time, man. It just takes. It's like selling shit product. Like if you sell shit boats, you'll sell shit boats for a while and you'll make a bit of money for a while, but all of a sudden people start catching on that your boats are shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden no one will buy your boats. It takes no time for that to happen.
And in the same token, you build really nice boats, but you rubbish everyone else's. Mate, they're in a different market. Why get involved in that space where you're known for rubbishing everyone else out? That's fucking irrelevant. And people do that as well. So, yeah, 100%. Stay in your lane and be authentic. And
focus on. Sorry, you're right.
Well, there's lots to learn about random creatures. I mean, look at the Norwell boys and Isaac and those guys. I mean, they're doing this in Cairns, man. Like, they build like the most ridiculous. Rigs and sponsor all these people, and they're doing all this. Mate, that is like a mad place to work. Like these guys have created like a Tony Stark environment where the conference room's got a rare collection of rums on the wall. And yes, it's stressful. Yes, there's a lot going on. But every single person in there, like I said, they can control the vibe. They're a bunch of bogans really trying hard, and they show you that it's possible to do shit. That's why I enjoy working there. And I think, we're doing the same here at Merino Boatworks. We're just at our inception. You're a lad from Charleville who used to go around Yellow Belly and fucking around with bloody bilbies and going to the PCY, say, for Friday night skating and shit, holding hands at the local school. You're going to set a camera and meeting people like, who you're hanging out with and learning about things that you've been interested in but never had someone around that had done it. And it's like a void that you didn't know was there until they're in front of your face. And, those guys do it to me. People like you do it to me. And starting a business is good because you meet people out of interest, not out of contract. It's so good. You would think the opposite, right? But when you're at work and you're a chippy or you're a fucking engineer or whatever, you're just sitting in a room with the same people that did the same time. That's it. You really, the odd ones there out of interest and they're a good egg, but they're surrounded by people that aren't, and they must hate themselves. So I can't believe some of the people I meet, like Travis from Aimright. Like we've got his boat out here, mate. You should get that lad on here because he's a pretty staunch character. He doesn't seem like the sort of person you want to fuck around, but he's a very authentic guy. He's been selling fucking spear guns, mate. Designing spear guns. Like imagine sitting in a boardroom full of investors and going like, right, going to make spear guns. Yeah. It's such a weird left field thing. And it's not something that people buy on repetition. Now, this guy, I don't know the whole story. I don't know anything. But all I can see is passion. And all I can see is overnight success. But it took 15 fucking years. And he's got a wicked rig out there that we're going to turn into something unbelievable. And meeting someone like that, like he's just talking out of passion. Every single fucking thing he says is out of self-interest and passion. So it's easy to gravitate towards those sorts of people. He's hanging out with Green Tree because he loves hunting, and Green Tree is trying to sponge off spearfishing. And I'm the same with you, learning about what you do. And any single person I interact with. It's sort of weird because it makes you want to close your circle up because there's a lot of people you invite into your life that don't do that for you, if that's important. But there's so many interesting people that you can meet out of interest, pursuing something out of interest. It's fucking sick.
It is, man. And like the more you get down this road and you talk to successful people, millionaires, successful people in business, social media, successful people, you name it, whatever you deem as successful.
Success is fucking bullshit, but yeah.
The more of those people you meet, right, like the more you realise, like, then most of them are really good human beings. They will give you time of day. They'll give you advice. Like Isaac, extremely successful business, extremely successful human. Took the time out of his day for a fucking nobody. Walked me through the factory and explained everything to me. And I learnt so much about business just from a sheet metal factory that I will directly apply to my business, my company, purely for what he's, excuse me. Oh, this cough's wrecking the flow, I tell you. Right. How they manage efficiency and how they manage overheads and what they outsource and what they don't outsource, and like simple business concepts that would make those guys millions, man.
If you would see that whole thing is an iceberg, man, and I want people to understand there's nothing important about a boat or a ute tray. But these guys, I'm not here to talk about bloody Norwell or whatever, they speak for themselves. I've got no idea about how they did this. But, Jamie, Steve, Isaac, every single person behind that whole company. But what I see is And it's probably what Cairns sees. Cairns is nothing, mate. Cairns is like, I can't believe it's nothing. We're next to the largest reef in the world, next to the oldest rainforest in the world. We're breathing some of the purest bloody air in the world, and we're fucking nothing. And, these guys have somehow, out of interest, created this realm where young kids who have the same interest get to work in that environment. There's so many fucking people that work there. They're all so stoked amongst the shit. It's just the tip of an iceberg where the tip is a fucking really nice ute tray. And underneath it is this collective of normal fucking people that are too slack to make their lunch and buy the tuck shop across the road and don't make their bed, late for all these normal fucking people. And if you are in a way where you have a dream and it sounds impossible, that to me sounds pretty fucking impossible. They're sending trays all over the world. These are things that replacing things that are already on the car. Very unnecessary, but they're amazing products, and people stand behind the ethos behind that. And I exactly want that for my own business. And it's really good to see something that's completely different playing out in a way that you hope for yourself. Not so much monetarily. It's just that when you're at Norweld, you feel something. And it's sort of like that when you're in here, if you're in the boats, I think. All through authenticity, bro. People like Isaac, Steve, Jamie. The fucking product speaks for itself. I can yarn you about how deadly our boats are. Fuck how good it looks. Go and jump in that boat, man. Go and take it for a ride. Go and take it for a fucking ride. It is a really, really, really good boat. And it's not for everyone. But if you're into fucking fishing, that's probably it, to be honest. And it's probably the same with your products. There's a lot of washed out media. There's a lot of 8-second clips that are highly processed, like shit food, and you can just eat it all day. But there are videos you can make that have intent and story behind it through things that you're interested in, and you edit them a little bit differently to some other fucking flea bag, sitting behind a desk. And when you watch it, you get something out of it. Chances are whoever's watching it out of interest is going to get a lot more out of it than you did, and you made it. So it's sick hanging around people in that space that can see it like that. I mean, I see it like that, subliminally, and I think about it like that. And talking about it makes you sound crazy. That's absolutely how I think.
I agree. But the crazy people don't think you're crazy because you're the same amount of crazy, bro.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're crazy. We're just fucking idiots.
It's both. Let's have another bathroom break, and let's chat. Let's chat this bloody TI trip.
Oh fuck! All right. This has to come out after TFI, but is this on?
Yeah, it's rolling.
Spin me the yarn about New Zealand you told me at my house the other day, because I'm very interested in New Zealand. I love that place. I feel like I wish I lived two lives. The one I have, because it's fucking sick, and another one where I was like cast as like a fur trapper in fucking North America or the Yukon dog sledding or somewhere cold in the mountains or whatever. And then, now you go to New Zealand a lot, and that place interests me. I love that joint.
I love New Zealand, man. I can't tell too much because it's on a couple of boys' YouTube shows and shit. I can't allude to too much of what happened, but I can tell a few bits and pieces, man. It's
right.
So anyone who watches YouTube, anything hunting or fishing related, probably knows of Jay Wild. Him and I have known each other for a very long time through socials and stuff like that. He's got his own little network of dudes that hunt and all that sort of stuff. And there's a guy in the States called Hunter McWaters. Yep. He has his own TV show, and it's called The Hunter's Quest.
Oh. Yeah.
And he's on the Sportsman channel.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's on the Sportsman channel.
Yeah, it's on the Sportsman channel, and he's on YouTube, and he does a whole...
I watch the Hell's Bay stuff on...
nice. Yeah, so he's on there. So he hit up Joe. Him and Joe talked, for however long, because they're both associates and stuff, and Hunter was like, I'll come over to New Zealand and hunt with you. And Joe's like, yep, sweet, no worries. All that went down, and then Hunter's coming over, and he's like, oh, do you know of any videographers? And Joe uses Joe Fluidy, which is another guy that's another Kiwi dude, really good videographer and stuff, and has filmed a lot of Joe's hunts, Jay Wild's hunts for him and all that sort of jazz. And he works for a hunting outfitter called Venator. So he couldn't make, I'm saying two Joe's names here, but he couldn't make, I'll call Joe J.E. Wild and Joe Fluidy Joe. So Joe couldn't make J.E. Wild's hunt with Hunter McWaters. Lots of duplicate words. This is confusing. This is very confusing. He couldn't make it because Joe was busy. Joe Fluidy was busy filming hunts and stuff with the company that he works for, as he contracts to. But then Joe, shouts to Joe Fluidy, you fucking legend of a human, recommended me. So Jay Wilds reached out to me and said, hey, can we do this? This is what we got on. Send me some pricing, yada, yada, yada. Went down the road. Excuse me. Oh, man. And then he booked me. So I went over to New Zealand, and it was 10 days hunting the West Coast, which anyone that knows New Zealand knows the West Coast is like...
It's a wild joint.
Turns the boys into men. It's like middle
wet,
of nowhere.
it's cold, it's fucked.
It's brutal, bro. So it was a heli drop in. Hunt for 10 days, take no water, get dropped in on these things called tarns, which are like basically rainwater deposits on the top of the mountain.
Is that what you call it, a tarn?
I think it's just T-A-N, and it's called a tarn, pronounced a tarn, and it's just literally a puddle, like a
that has nowhere to flow.
big as your skiff. Like it just fills up basically, and it's pretty manky, to be honest. And then in the rut, like stags are pissing in it and wallowing in it and all nasty things.
Sounds like a fun time.
We got there just post rut, so it wasn't too bad. But we got dropped up this spot on the mountain. Had a couple of tarns there that we were drinking out of and everything. And it was forecast to be a bit of crazy weather, like rain and a bit of snow and stuff. So that was all good. I won't talk about the hunting stuff because the boys will want that for their film, so I can't disclose too much of that shit. But there was a blizzard, man. So the bad weather actually turned into proper bad weather. And it was like, it ended up flooding. So we had a couple of days of hunting, and then this bad weather was meant to come in. We woke up and it was like kind of windy, fogged out, just not nice. And Joe's like, yeah, it's sort of going to come in today and all that sort of stuff. And then it ended up like on the mainland, down the bottom in a town called Canterbury. Biggest flood in Canterbury in 50 years. The whole joint went underwater.
And you're just chilling up on top of this mountain.
Man, by 8 o'clock in the morning, the following morning, Hunter's tent, he bought a teepee over from the States, arse overhead, wrecked, gone.
Are these like walking track pole tents?
Basically, yeah. So we were in like actual tents that they're made for like the 4-season tents, so they're made for pretty severe weather conditions, tested on Everest and all sorts of things. So by 8:30, whatever time in the morning, Hunter's tent got busted. Joe gave Hunter his spare 4-season tent. Joe had his 4-season tent. I had my 4-season tent. By the end of that night, it was like 120 kilometre-an-hour winds. Literally blew. I was looking at
what altitude are you at?
Probably 2,000.
Oh fuck, it's pretty high up.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, watched Joe get blown off his feet with a wind gust, and literally you couldn't be out for more than 5 minutes touching stuff outside because your hands were just like frostbitten. It was nasty.
So it just turned like boom,
bad,
just gone. Yeah.
Sleet, snow, blizzard.
Yeah.
And then that night, so Hunter's tent was wrecked. That night, it just got darkness. Just makes everything worse. And the wind gusts were like, you could hear them coming up the valley. You could hear like,
you knew it was going to hit you, sort of thing.
You could hear this rumble.
Yeah.
You could hear this rumble in the distance, and then it'd sort of and it'd be windy, and then it'd sort of just drop out a little bit. Then it'd just go boom, and your whole tent would just fold, and then spring back up. And it did that all fucking night. And Hunter stayed up all night in his tent, holding his walls of his tent up and praying. He's a godly man. He's not proper like.
He was spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual is probably the best way to put it. Spiritual is the way to put it. He has faith in the Bible more so than like churches type deal. He was a lad. He was a good dude. Anyway, he stayed up all night praying and holding up.
Really?
Holding up the tent.
He must have been scared to get to that point.
Man, he was shitting
And
bricks.
this guy spent a lot of time outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Joe, sorry, I'll circle back quickly. I'll just take a few steps back. That afternoon when it's starting to get bad, and Joe was like, we can hike down the bottom and go to the hut. There's a hut like right down the bottom of the valley in the middle of this valley.
Just
so
there,
we can
Hunter's
camp
hut
there.
sort of thing.
Yeah, we can camp there because they've got on all the public land. They built huts for
Yeah,
years.
it's sick down there. Yeah.
So he said we can go down there, but pretty much makes the hunt over basically. And I was just like, nah, fuck that.
You're chasing tar, right?
Red stag, chamois, and tar.
Okay, cool.
I'm not one of those. I'm a very risk. Like I love that shit. Like that's why I do this
Sounds
stuff.
sick, yeah.
So I was like, nah, fuck that. Like let's just stick it out. Yada yada. So Hunter's in his tent, circle back to the night. Hunter's in his tent, holding the walls of the tent up, getting like flogged to pieces. I'm in my tent, all my camera equipment's in there, everything. I'm holding that up. Joe's in his tent, holding that up. Nearly 2 fucking days, man. This thing went on.
Oh, is this how long it fucking went for?
That was the problem. The tents probably would have held up if it just wasn't so relentless. Joe had an older tent, like it's a few years old, and it started to get a rip in the canvas.
Oh.
And then it just wrecked it.
Just gone, yeah.
Yeah, literally like over time just wrecked it. So he ended up sleeping in Hunter's tent.
Yeah.
So he went into Hunter's tent, flattened his tent down, put all his shit underneath it, everything.
So you're like on a rocky, grassy sort of top.
Yeah, like in a like a tiny bowl on the top of a mountain.
Yeah. I'm just like thinking about like the fucking... Is it the rifle walkers dudes on YouTube? Like just thinking about that sort of scenery. Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
So on the top of a mountain, it's sitting in a bowl, and it was like wild.
Yeah.
Like, so Joe's tent got wrecked. There's actually the full story is actually on a podcast that I've aired with the three of us post this trip, sitting on a couch talking shit in detail. But Joe's tent got wrecked. He ended up in Hunter's tent in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm in my tent. The feet snapped off my tent. Kind of hard to explain, but the plastic feet snapped off my tent, and the front of my tent laid down. Because it was bouncing around, then my fly ripped, and then my inner ripped, and the front end of my tent was fucked. So I had like rain and sleet shit coming in, so I pulled out. I had like an emergency roll of like paracord, so I just started tying shit down, and I'm like kind of laughing while this is happening because I'm weird.
Yeah.
And all that. And
I know what you mean.
Joe's checking on me. So I'm like, okay, how do I not die here? And I'm like, well, warm and dry. If the camera gear gets wet, whatever.
Whatever the fuck at this point, yeah.
I'm not going to pitch another tent now in the middle of a blizzard because that's just stupid. I had one spare tent. I bought a spare tent with me. But it was only a small single person 3-season tent. And I was like, there's no point pitching that now. It's just going to wreck 2 tents. So I was like, all right.
So this is like a unrelenting gale coming
all night. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, sleet, like snow and everything.
So
like,
any heat's just blown away.
Nasty, freezing, man.
Yeah.
Freezing cold. So I'm there and I'm like, all right, how do I just need to stay alive and not go hypothermic or anything like that because we still had more. If it went past, we could still hunt.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had to stay alive. I had a job to do, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, pulled the emergency bivvy out, which is like basically a foil sack.
Yeah, I was about to say, is this the foil thing? Yeah.
It's literally a orange foil sack, like a thermal blanket kind of deal, but a sock.
Yeah.
Lives in my pack. Haven't used it for years. And then this one random time I'm like, oh, I can finally take this thing out of my pack and use it for once. Shoved all my clothes in there, my sleeping bag in there, and got in that, pulled it up over my head, and just went to sleep.
Did you?
Yep. I was just like, fuck it, man. If I wake up with no tent, I'm still alive. I'm good. So that went on, woke up at like, I only had like 2 or 3 hours sleep that night. It was pretty nasty.
This is in a hallucinogenic trance. Why has this shit happened?
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah, man. And then like after that period of time, I sort of woke up. Joe was laughing because I was like, I got up, I moved all my shit inside, and I had like, had my little jet boil in there, and I was making coffee and doing all this stuff. And Joe's like, hey, Wade. Yeah, because I'm in there. Joe felt bad. Joe and Hunter felt bad because they're in there. Oh, I'm good, bro. This will do me.
Shit, right.
Joe and Hunter in there, talking and watching YouTube videos and whatever else they're doing. And then like I'm just in there in this blizzard, just chilling out by myself. And he's like, hey, Wade, you right, bro? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just making a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
I was just.
You got to be
out.
like that.
You have to. You can't do that sort of stuff and not. You can't be willing to go on those kinds of trips and not be willing to, like, put up with a bit of hurt. Anyway, and then like literally it just stopped. Like someone just turned the tap off. And it was still a little bit gusty the next day, but it was like way more chill, man.
Odin's test was over.
Yeah, and it was done. And then we just continued to hunt.
Yep.
That was successful. And I made like, it's funny, like you go on those trips and you make like lifelong friends in 10 days. Like
100%. Oh, yeah.
Those boys, like I feel like I've known them for 10 years.
It's like a shared hardship. Yeah.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
It was a cool trip. I made lifelong friends from it. But
I guess you see like you see how they behave when something shit's happening.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. It's not even a thought. You just think, fuck yeah, that's sick. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. It's like I don't know. what's that saying? It's kind of similar. It reminded me a lot of I know Joe Rogan repeated it, but I don't remember who wrote the quote. But it's like hard times create.
Oh, I love this one. Hard times create hard men. Hard men create good times. Good times create soft men.
Yeah, like that. So it was like, it was good to see those
Soft
boys
men
like
create hard times.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it was like good to it was good to just be a part of that, and then like see those boys like revel in it as well. Like this is what we're here for.
It must have been, you know, when you. Sorry for butting in, but
You're right.
you know, you're talking about your tents blowing apart and shit like that. Most people's buying decisions with products now are related to how expensive it is, but they actually don't understand what is behind that product. It's sort of like what's behind our boats and fishing gear. Like people see a Shimano Stella and they go, it's expensive, it must be the best. At times like that, when you're in that scenario, your buying decision is very fucking important. And literally, you dying or, you know, getting out of it unscathed is actually gear dependent. Was it good actually being in a scenario? Because when you plan hard trips, things like that, it's very gear dependent. But most of your buying decisions aren't based on discomfort. They're based on comfort or price or some dumb shit. Did that change how you look at buying things?
I've always been a pretty high-end kind of dude. Like, I don't fuck around. I buy something once and I buy it for long-term purpose. I'm not one of those people that will settle because of price, because all I do when I do that is end up buying the thing I wanted anyway in the long term. So I run pretty high quality, high-end shit.
Yep.
But I could see where people get unstuck. So like if you bought a subpar, cheaper tent with no R&D and all that stuff from it, right? Like you probably would have been in a fair bit of trouble on that trip.
Yeah. Or if you didn't bring that emergency bivvy.
Literally, and like just smart things like that, and being half savvy with it. But like, if you bought a shitty tent up there, like it destroyed legit 4-season tents that that were tested in like the Himalayas. It 3/4 destroyed them.
That's what I was getting at. It's like, you know, that there is an intent behind buying good quality things. Like, you know,
100%. You get what you pay for, man. You get what you pay for, and like that's why like we're not cheap, because. You hiring someone for a film project.
You don't want your cameraman to lose his shit when there's a blizzard.
Bro, you don't. Literally, you
want
don't.
him making megarang in a jet boil.
And Joe has given me so many good, and I'm very grateful. He was one of the most beautiful humans you ever meet. I'm very grateful. But he gave me a lot of recommendations because I did just push through it. I was laughing and fucking carried on and joking about it because, like, what's the point of being miserable?
It serves no purpose to be a miserable cunt and be negative, yeah?
Exactly.
Like, exactly, yeah.
So, like, yeah, and the same thing with what you're doing with, like, your high price point boats. Like, the value is in the workmanship. And you won't get, like, there's only a couple of people in Australia that can shoot fishing well, that are fishermen.
Yeah.
And there's only a few of us.
No, I agree. I didn't understand that until I started doing this sort of shit. There's a big difference between storytelling and product pushing. And you can do both without selling your soul, men, or anchor. And only very few people can do the same because good experiences are product dependent. They're not sales dependent.
Yeah, exactly. And 100%. 100%. And like filming hunting, for example, you need to be extremely physically fit. Extremely physically fit.
Oh, I understand. Look at me.
Ridiculous, bro. And then you also need to know how to not fuck it up, because like you're walking around with this big black shiny ass thing, and you got to work out where you need to be and not be seen, but also still see everything.
Yeah.
And it's a skill. Oh my god.
You also can't let yourself get in the way of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, there's an art to it, and we're at a higher price point because the effort and the skill set that we bring is not just slinging cameras. It's the ability and the knowledge of the industries that we're in.
Oh, mate, if you invoiced your hours truly at even a low rate...
No one would afford us, bro.
No cunt would pay for it. Sorry, no person would pay for it. And that's what you're paying for, I think, is the genuine interest in producing a good product.
100%.
Yeah.
And, like, people see that we've got our heart in it too. Like, we actually give a shit about our clients, and we actually put in extra effort. And, like, I'll try, like... And I don't know, it'll probably come back to bite me one day, but I really don't really care. Like, a lot of, like, we have clients that are Well, I don't. I'm reasonable with price. Like, I'll help people out under the proviso that it's a long-term arrangement type deal. But
Well, we both get something out of it, whether it's financial experience or networking, whatever the fuck it is.
Or I see something with potential that's worth investing in, right? So, like, it's a mum and dad business and they've saved up all this money and they want to spend money on us.
Yeah.
And it's not as much as what I would normally charge, but I go, fuck it. I see what you're trying to achieve. It inspires me. It brings me back to when I first started.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you because I can see your vision. But I want you to be like, and I do that with the expectation that if I can do it and help you blow it up, then you'll give me more work. I won't do it for companies that are already established with a budget, that have money, that just don't value spending it on marketing and media.
Well, the person making that decision is just paid and he's just, so, he's just in a job.
Yeah.
That person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you want to spend all your money elsewhere, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't come to me and penny pinch when, like, you don't value the work I do.
Oh, marketing to me is like a nice to have, but it's very necessary. It's a nice to have because I can't afford it, and everything I can't afford is a nice to have, right? So
it's hard though, because especially for startups, and I'm a startup still, and so are you, but like,
100%.
It's hard to know when to spend it and how to spend it too, because like, you can go and do all this marketing right in your boats, and then you get 50 orders.
But you can't produce.
How are you going to fucking deliver them?
Exactly.
So it's like a double-edged sword for you, right?
Exactly. And people don't understand that, and they sort of quiz you on it. It makes you sort of think about things. But, we got this far in my train of thought. You got this far in your train of thought. Chances are that has changed a little bit, but at its core, stick to that. And the people that you deal with, if they're doing the same thing, it's probably going to be a good relationship,
100%. Bro, tell me about this Torres Straits trip, and let's wrap this thing up.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. It was crazy when we started the like, back in the day when I was in the garage in the sunny coast, what we do is work, surf, get drunk, repeat. We'd stretch out a cook chook for like fucking 2 weeks when that broke.
Oh, dear.
All me and my best mate Zerky would think about was like, one day we're going to build boats, we're going to be in this captain's magazine. It was fresh back then. Back then this magazine's super important. It's like a storytelling thing. It's like boats. It's sick. We loved it. We were pretty young. Then years later, 10 years later, I started this boat company, and it's sort of like this cornerstone thing where we'd end up in the captain's magazine. I don't know why. We're petty retards, but we always wanted to be in this captain's magazine. We'd have all these brands adding our Facebook, Instagram page, which was fuck all. And we'd have all these people, adding it, but the captain never did it. And it was always this thing. I loved what those guys were doing. It's not something that I thought about, but in the marketing space, I really wanted to be in it. All of a sudden, years down the track, we built a number of boats and done all this shit, and we've done 3 crazy trips with them. Like we did a Weeper trip that hasn't been released yet on Davo's boat. No one's really seen that first boat we ever built. Mate, that is the first boat we ever built. It is fucking ridiculous. And Davo loves it. He rings me just to tell me now, years later, that he still loves it. And this guy's a fisherman. This guy's not a fucking lawn ornament person. This guy's a fucking fisherman. He's a good dude. And he's a plumber. Let's go. Anyway. Now we've done 3 trips with the captain. Anyway, they got invited to the TFI for some fucking reason. Out of all the people that they get to yarn to, they wanted to film their submission on, I guess me, and my queer energy that I throw out. I'm sorry, my bad energy that I throw out there. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Anyway, those guys were just like a magazine, and now, because of the shit we've done, it is hard filming things like that. I don't think people understand that what filming is, because I never did. It is a body-taxing fucking thing, especially because of light and early mornings and late evenings. Sort of, man, you're going to be out for 18 hours the fucking day after day, trying to get what you're paying for. They were just a business that became really good friends of mine, and likewise with the trips we've done. I just want to see those guys to hang out with them because they're fucking normal, genuine people, have the same interests. They just hold a camera. Anyway, so they got invited to the TFI. They want to film it on us going back to the Fly River, which I think on the first Captain's video I mentioned, and Travis from the Captain's magazine, him and I always threw this idea in. We go back to PNG. And for me, it's not that big of a deal. I lived there for like 6.5 years or whatever the fuck. Like I speak pidgin. So I was just excited to go back to, you know, all that yarn about black bass fishing and things. It seemed very reachable. It's like just there. I don't think a lot of people realise that the most remote, unpopulated, untouched landmass on the earth is like a 3-hour flight from Cairns. There's just no reason to publicise that. But it's true. That is the wildest place I've ever lived. I've been lucky to go to, you know, Guinea, Zambia, Ghana, Octeti, Kiunga, like, you know, fucking Innisfail. Edmonton is one of the roughest. Edmonton is one of the roughest, 4869.
Oh, dear.
But the Western Province is a pretty wild place. So, you know, we go do the trip. Luckily, our second customer, Simon, who has our second boat called Too Deadly, it's a beautiful boat, mate. That thing is like a beautiful expression of, you know, not letting things just go out the door. That is a beautiful boat. Very practical boat. And it's the most time I've ever spent in one of our boats. So the plan was to take this boat from Karumba or Weipa up the Western Gulf all the way through to Daru, from Daru all the way up the Fly River to Suki Lagoon. And Suki Lagoon is like, you know, 300 k's up the Fly River. This is a very remote place of the earth. It's like on the Irian-Jai, the border. No reason for you to Google anything having to do with that place. There's still cannibalism going on. There's still this thing where there's like headhunting where in West Papua, it's like a cultural tradition where if you build new houses, you put a severed head underneath the house as a cultural thing. And they go into villages at night and take kids and decapitate them and use that for cultural purposes.
Jesus Christ.
Things like that. This is 100% true. This is not like
I
a
believe
fucking
you.
chinwag.
Bro.
And because it's wide, there's no reason for... It sounds wild, but this is just how people live.
Yeah, but that's based on our morals. So
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
This is how people live. It still goes on. And we learned about the headhunting thing, you know, talking with the federal police while we were trying to go up there. So we go up there, mate. It was a collective effort, and it was a good testament to our boats because the hybrid is built for this sort of stuff. And mate, this thing had 4 retards in it, 4 bloody blokes worth of camping gear, living out of this boat, food, every single thing like that, 900 litres of fuel. You know, unfortunately, the trip didn't go as planned due to our own government and things like that. But a very reasonable, normal, genuinely, in my mind, unexciting, unhard trip got turned into something that was just sort of like a legal fucking trivial yarn. But what I got to do was spend a lot of time in our boats. You know, after starting the business, you sort of set aside a lot of things. You sell everything. You stop putting effort and energy into things that you used to enjoy into this one thing. And now I got to let go of that and sort of get back into doing missions and shit like that with a fucking bunch of legends, except they had to film everything. And, you know, we got to TI due to a gap in the Border Forces legislation, which is generally directed around commercial boats leaving the country. There was no facility in their legislation for recreational trailer boats to go internationally within this set of conditions, right?
Where'd you end up, Badu?
I went to Bardu and, you know, around that area. I'd already been to TI a number of times, just doing tinny trips out of Weipa and for work out of Horn Island, things like that. All my PNG life flying in and out of, you know, the Western Province, we would stop in Horn Island. So this is not like... It's just fucking Australia, bro.
Yeah, literally, bro. It's like you can island hop. You can island hop in a 4.2 minute tinny from the tip of Cape York to Port Moresby.
Yeah.
You literally could if you were smart enough.
It's not that far away. It's not this thing. You know, people need to understand that. Look, there's a very remote region.
You can see PNG from some of that.
Dwan, Murray Island. Yeah. It's a beautiful country, by the way. Like, people have these misconceptions through the media about what PNG is. PNG is a absolutely beautiful, untouched place on the earth, and that is rare. You know, the plateaus around Suki, they have massive herds, like, of untouched roosa deer. They have the birds of paradise. There's cassowaries, there's wallabies, there's couscous. And I love the nature side of things. You know, that's really what I wanted to get into. Like, animals are way better than people.
I agree.
And just to get the fuck away from everyone was sort of what we were chasing, and being able to just hang out with a bunch of weirdos that live in the jungle. obviously, in lieu of getting up to PNG, the trips, quickly morphed in from, being a die-hard black bass trip that I wanted to get back to just being this struggle with, like a government agency or whatever the fuck they are. And it's not as if they had a reason to go out of their way to film our intent. But like I said earlier, there should be nothing more important out of self-interest. And whatever the fuck your commercial laws about transporting lobsters and fucking whatever, country to country, there really isn't anything more important than genuine intent and just wanting to enjoy that country. And it sort of sucks that got in the way of us getting there, because everything else on the PNG side was sweet. It was fuck all, really. One thing that I would like to say about the Torres Strait Islands is I saw it through a different lens. When I was younger up there, we were just yahooing and going to go see these places like the Tip and all this other stuff. Mate, they are the most relaxed people and happiest people I've ever seen, apart from the drug activity up there, which is affecting them. I think people should go up to the Torres Straits and have a look, because a lot of people wouldn't understand that that's Australia. They would think they were in a different country. Mate, those are probably one of the... You could go anywhere in the earth to see people living in their culture and get a culture shock. Now, fuck the culture shock. Just, these guys are there living in the same landmass as you. They eat what they catch every day. They're the most polite, nicest people ever. On a number of occasions, these people invited us into their homes to help us out of no fucking reason. And get on board with the trip, and they fed the trip, and they really made it what it was in lieu of catching black bass. Now, there is no other scenario, anyone in my network of friends, that would let people from another culture into their home and invite us the way they did.
Especially white people. Westerners, man, they hate Westerners.
Mate, we were the only rubbish people up there, and I mean that because, we were on holiday. Every single person up there on the trip that we met, all they wanted to do was help us. It was fucking insane. I nearly went to a few of them. Are you crazy? Why would you do this for us? Mate, that's just their culture. One thing I said to... I was with this guy named Mush. We were staying at Nancy Nona's place on Bardu Island. She created this little hut on the backside of Bardu Island called a loop, which is those huge sort of cone shells. It's a big snail. That's called an alup. And it was voted Forbes number 4 places on the earth out of 50. How the fuck he got on there, I have no idea, because Nancy just lives on this little beach shack on Bardu Island. So when we first got there, we got arrested. Got arrested the next morning because they seized a whole heap of cocaine the night we landed on the same channel. And they were tracking our boat and the drug running boat, landing at approximately the same time in the same channel, and then it got reported that we'd landed in a speedboat. We were tossing all this gear up.
Man, the booger sugar that comes through the Torres Straits into the mainland is insane, in ice.
Ice is real bad now because it's cheap. I must say that the Border Force does a really good job. Every interaction that I had with the Border Force up there, I mean, people probably just see it as like, a thing at the airports. Those guys are protecting our reefs and stopping drugs coming into our country with a smile on their face, and they fucking love it. Yeah. And all they did was help us and try to get away from being an obstruction, because that's what the people in Australia see them as. No. I'm with the Border Force, man. Those are fucking good people. Graham, lad, Amber, you're fucking legends. It was a really good time. And you helped make the trip. But they really helped us. And I forgot what I was spinning about. But anyway, we ended up on Bardu Island. We got to see so much of how they just live normally. It wasn't like a fucking, we're here to see all this tourist yarn. It's refreshing to see. And a lot of people would go to big extents to see how people live in other cultures. Mate, that is Australia. It is so easily accessible. They're the nicest people. I've been blessed to be able to see, how many people of different ethnic cultures live and actually live there. I think they've got a good thing going up in TI, and I think a lot of people should go see what they're doing. That whole experience was very hard. It was very hard financially, on the boat, everything we were doing, and just on your soul, because it's very hard to see something that you're going to enjoy and plan it and, sort of morph everything around you for a short period of time into getting to that goal, and then that having completely changed by something else that blindsided you that's just trivial yarn and it's shit. And then to get so much else out of it because everyone else around us was just trying to help. It sort of went from this fishing journey to just fucking enjoying everyone that was around us trying to help us. And for me, that's all the Torres Straits seem to be. So I think people should get up there and have a look.
All those cultures, man, that have nothing, those third world country type scenarios, like the happiest, most content people. Yeah. The happiest, most content people you'll ever meet. People with no ambition that'll just be happier than anyone like us combined, I think. Man, nearly 3 hours worth.
Honestly, it feels like we've been talking for 5 minutes, bro. But we do need to get
it always goes quick. It always goes quick. And people are probably pissed off with my cough.
And my sniffling.
Man, what's your business? How can people find you? And what type of boats are you building?
So my business is Merino Boatworks. We're based in Bentley Park in Cairns, Australia. Pretty much we produce a product in alignment with the high-end builders overseas. We vacuum infuse, very well designed, fully cooled boats that are literally centered all about the fisherman. So if you're in the market for a boat that is a true expression of yourself, a bespoke custom boat that you get to put all your effort in, that really isn't that far expensive off the mass-produced stuff on the market, that doesn't have to be rebuilt in 10 years, and you want a really good experience and have a say, something that you think about while you're sitting at your desk hating your life, and that's all you want to do. Look, honestly, just give us a call. There's nothing that comes out this door that doesn't have our heart and soul in it. These boats are very good boats. Mate, there's a big difference between what you've experienced in terms of boats and when you've got something that's really well designed and really well built. And if that's something you're interested in, we might be people. So give us a call. We're fishermen, every single one of us.
Love that, my man. Won't be the last time we have a chat, I'm sure.
No. I've got so many questions for you too, lad. But it's bedtime.
Thanks for your time, brother.
Thank you, Mel.
Let's go. DP.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Fuck on, boy.